Bazumba. What's happening? You know what this is, and you know why we're here. Often imitated, never duplicated. This is the New York Hardcore Chronicles live. Almost 200 shows in on this motherfucker, right? How about that? And if you're wondering, we are sponsored by New York Hardcore Comics, The Organic Grill, the Texas Silver Rush, Chain Reaction Records and Skateboards, DTFM Vinyl Distro, Chacho's Tacos, Generation Records, and 126 Hardcore Clothing. What's going on, everybody? It's Shout Out Sunday. Hey, Jeff, what's happening in Las Vegas, brother? What did I just see is going down? Oh, you know what? Speaking of Vegas, this punk rock museum in Vegas just got in touch with me and asked me if I want to be a part of what's going there, and I'm trying to sort it out. I don't know if I want to be a part of some punk rock museum. You know what I'm saying? Not sure. Not sure how I feel about the punk rock museum in Vegas that they're probably charging a lot of money for, you know? So I'm trying to navigate that. You know, I'm not real quick to jump in on that. Could be a money-making scheme from Hollywood people. Yo, Sean Brennan, represent, bro. That's my man right there. Guitar player in Incendiary Device. Sean Brennan, what's up? Haven't heard anything about it, Jeff? Yeah, right? Sounds like some Hollywood shit, bro. They're scheming, you know? Paulie Pork Chops leaves it off. It's a shout out to Overkill and Prong playing in Orlando tonight. That's a cool bill, actually. I'd like to see that. Tommy Victor, who's been on the show in Prong, and of course, what's his name? Jason Bittner plays drums for Overkill. We love those dudes. Listen, Sid, they're not charging $5 towards fucking Vegas. You know? Yep. Yeah, exactly. Next to the CBGBs. You know what I mean? It's like, I told them pretty much. If you want to screen my films, any of my films, I'm open to that. You want to screen my film? I'll come out there. We'll do a Q&A. But I'm not real quick to get too involved in something like that, you know? Jump in the fire, yo. Rich Zoller, what's up? Come on now, Rich. Not working today, Rich? All right. What else do I gotta? Oh, you know what? Get a load of this shit. Yo, check these out. I have never, anybody know what these are? Hold on. Can anybody identify this item? What do you make of these? All right. Identify this item. Yes, those are bigger than what. Yo, anybody, identify this item. They are grapes, Drew. Cotton candy grapes. Is that what they are? I've never. My girlfriend came back with these grapes. They're the size of golf balls. Like, these are like rehydrated raisins. That's a good one. They are rehydrated raisins. Yo, these are like Chernobyl grapes. They're like the size of golf balls. It's like 3-bite grapes. You got to take 3 bites of these things. You know? Friggin' girlfriend shows up with shit like this, you know? You bring shit like this into the house. They're probably like radioactive. You know? Is that right? Sultana grapes, they're Mediterranean. Maybe he's right. What does it say on here? Peru. Says they're from Peru. How do you do? My name is Drew. The grapes are from Peru. That said, what's up with this dude? What's happening, man?
Hello.
Hey, is that I have that somewhere. Wait. Is that this?
Yes.
This is our friend's little fanzine, right?
That's right. First issue, Judgment Day zine.
Did you send away for this?
This is pretty cool. I'm honored, actually, that they, myself and Rich Zoller and Tim Daly, Carl Gunhouse, they got a lot of photos in here. This is really cool.
This is Shaya's, right?
I think this is the first issue.
Yep.
Our friends in Reaching Out, of course, all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
Really cool. Really nice production on this. You know, gotta shout out the JDZ right here. Very cool. Very cool.
We like that. We like brick and mortar printed fanzines, especially done by teenagers.
Yeah.
You know?
And the ones that come to the shows and they really support the scene, you know?
Yeah, she's part of that Reaching Out Crossfire, formerly known as Ape Crew.
Oh, that's right. Crossfire is the new the new name. That's right.
Whatever, man. You know.
But man, you got to shout out. Reaching Out are killing it lately. They really are. They got some great shows. They got that Madball Hazen Street show.
You just reminded me. They're playing.
That's pretty goddamn cool.
They're playing the Tompkins Square Park show that we're doing. Right?
Yes.
This one here. Hold on. Hold your horses.
Very excited for that. Tompkins
Square Park, the New York Hardcore Chronicles, back to the New York Hardcore Roots music series. We're doing a show in the park.
Yes.
Of course, it's always free. If it's free, it's for me. Fire is Murder, Cropsey, Reaching Out, Enziguri, and one of the most smoking bands in New York City, Rebelmatic.
Dude, I got to tell you, Fire is Murder has been tearing it up too lately.
You know what? I got to see them play. I got to see them play.
Yeah, they're great.
I saw them early on. It's hard for me to stand and watch bands, man, you know? I need to sit and chill. I need to relax.
We'll get you a chair and some grapes.
Listen, I don't know what these things are, but they ain't grapes. They're like weapons.
It's Soylent Green.
Yep. Soylent Green is made of people.
That's right.
Yeah. Anyway, let's do album of, excuse me.
How about photo of the day?
Fuck album. Fuck that dude. You know? Fuck Sid the Kid and album of the week.
Wow.
Right? Fuck everybody. All right, here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, wrong answers only, please. You asked for it. You got it. This is photo of the day. Bam. What's Photo of the day. What is it? All right. Let's see. What do we got? What do we got? What do we got for entertainment? Coxkill gypsies on the pavement. You lot. What? Don't stop. Give it all you got. All right. Is it Bob Vila and his old hardcore house? Yo, Jeff Frank on point today. Is it the Addams Family? Yo, shouting out Gary G-Man Sullivan from Cro-Mags.
What's up, Gary?
In Hamburg, Germany. Of course, plays drums not only in the Cro-Mags, but in the Tina Turner Review. Scott Earth shouting out from Silence Equals Death. Yo, Silence Equals Death's hot band right now, man. And they're the most mismatched, painfully difficult to like, I don't want to say they're painful to watch. They're not. But they're like, you got like, there's no symmetry in that band, but they're like visually, but that's what part of what makes them great. They're awesome. Yep. What are you doing at my crib? Uncle Fester. Fester Family Values. All right. Governor's Mansion, Albany, New York. All right. What else? 1313 Mockingbird Lane. All right. Yeah, right. That's what. Yeah, it's like Giant. Scott. Yeah, you got Scott Earth. Who's, I don't want to say he whatever. And then what's his name? Sean is like 6'5" standing next to him, and then it's like a band of misfits, but it's hardcore. So who cares, right? It's hardcore. It ain't Duran Duran.
Scott
Her
sings
name
like
is
he
Rio,
like he's 10 feet
and
tall,
she
man.
dances on the way. All right, here we go. Is it Phantasm House? Is it Steve's? Is it a potential trespassing charge?
Yes, that it is actually.
Is it?
For about 5 days in a row it was.
Here's another one. Fuck is going on here, bro? Let me tell you something, bro. If you show up in front of my house like that, dude, shout out to John Taylor.
Yeah, they didn't like when I was pressing my face against the window
like
either.
The wolf. Hey, no, we're not down on Duran Duran. I like Duran Duran, actually.
They're looking to get in the Hall of Fame this year. And they got the most votes.
Warren Cucurullo from Duran Duran. Anybody know where Warren Cucurullo's from?
Oh, I do.
Where is Warren Cucurullo from Duran Duran from?
I won't say, but I know it. Yep. I know.
All right. Is it Jehovah's Witness? Is it Steve's Haunted House Walking Tour? Same place as Bozio. No, he's not. No, Bozio. No.
Yeah, no, he's right.
Oh.
I know the reference he's talking about with Cucurullo.
Well, I'm not talking about what band he's from. I'm talking about where did he grow up?
Oh, okay. Now I don't know what you're talking about there. Okay.
Yeah, yes, Zappa. We know.
There you go. Yeah.
Warren Cucurullo played with Zappa. Terry Bozzio played with Zappa. But where is Warren Cucurullo from?
Oh, I don't know that.
Yeah, that's right. He's from Brooklyn. Where in Brooklyn?
Oh, okay.
He's got a biohazard.
He's from the hot side.
There. Is that right? Avenue
22 Acacia Avenue. Nice.
Yes, he's from Brooklyn. Here, I'll let Warren Cucurullo, close, Sid. Bensonhurst, close. Very close.
It's from the wrong side of the tracks.
That's right. That's right. All right. All right. I'm early. No, I'm not early. The clocks went ahead.
Oh, that's right. Forgot about that.
It's called Planet Earth. Is my place of birth. Help, I'm a rock. All right. What is this? Tell us what this is.
All right. Well, the first house in particular, this is actually Stephen King's house. A couple of years back, I spent Thanksgiving up in Maine, and my girlfriend at the time, her dad lived about 6 houses away, and this is Stephen King's house. And The red house is his residence.
This is his residence?
Yes, that is Stephen King's home.
And what, you just pull up, let me get this straight. You just pull up in the street, park your car, get out and take a picture in front of his house?
I just walked over. It was, it was literally right like a few houses from where I was. And the house next door that he also owns is his private library.
Okay, so this is his residence.
Yeah, this is where Stephen King lives. And and
then this other one, this one is his private library?
Yes. And this is the house directly next to his house.
This here. Boom.
Yes.
All right.
And which is really cool. I mean, both houses are so cool looking, and it looks like the house you would expect Stephen King to live in, right down to the gargoyles on the gate and everything. And
do you think he's had like kooks like jump the gate and be like, I need to talk to Stephen King? Like,
I'm sure he has. And in fact, the cool thing about it is he's, people know him so well over there. He just goes about his business. Nobody bothers him really. And he loves baseball so much that he built like a full-on, like a baseball field just for the kids to come and play baseball. So he has a place to go watch people play ball.
That's cool.
And it was very cool. And I mean, anyone who's read his early work, he's included his town in so much of his writing. And he wasn't home. I mean, I waited. I just prayed to see the guy come get the newspaper. And he never showed up. He was probably like, I'm not coming out until that weird dude gets away from my front gate.
Yeah, he's probably he's probably not even home. He's
But beautiful houses. I mean, like really cool. And a lot of the houses in the area look like that. Like it's just a really cool looking area. You saw the occasional moose walk by,
Talk about a proficient writer, man. And we're going to talk about this with our guest. A lot of his films, numerous films, have been made into films, including Stanley Kubrick directed The Shining, which we're going to talk about today.
Which is to me one of my all-time favorite movies ever. And
he hated it.
Yeah, he didn't like Kubrick's version, and I think Kubrick surpassed the book, in my opinion.
Listen, a lot of authors get a hair up their ass when their shit gets,
And I got to tell you something. If you haven't seen it, I absolutely loved Dr. Sleep.
I didn't see that.
Which was Danny Torrance as an adult. And I
love Danny Torrance. Oh, at the Chiller Con. He does those. We saw him.
Oh, the kid, the original kid does them?
Yeah.
Wow. I don't think he ever did a movie after The Shining.
No, he's like a teacher now. He's not an actor.
Oh, classic. I mean, The Shining to me is untouchable. Cool. And amazing. But yeah, Stephen King, that was a really cool thing. And I just really wanted to, like, that's a guy that I would love to meet and really just kind of I mean, what a legend. I mean, the amount of classic work he put out in his lifetime,
Absolutely. And yes, Gary, we're going to talk about Kubrick on the show today. From the Bronx, went to Taft High School with my dad, Arnie Stone. That is right.
Wow.
Yep. All right, bro. If you're going to hang out,
I'll be here.
Hey, you know what? Hold on real quick. While you're here, let's do the next 4 shows. This Wednesday, bane of my existence, Michael Alago, with special guest Sean Yassault from White Zombie. We're celebrating the re-release of the film that I directed a couple years ago. Who the fuck is that guy? The Fabulous Journey of Michael Alago. A week after that, because there's no show a week from today, because there is a Bowery Electric show, which 24/7 Spies, and you are playing 2 along with Ache, Iconicide, and Neighborhood Shit. Wednesday, March 23rd, Rick Agnew. Listen, is this show going to happen? I don't know. This dude, I don't know. Sunday, March 27th, from Sub-Zero, Madball, Hatebreed, and Scarhead, Mr. Riggs Ross. And then Wednesday, March 30th, Flora from Maafa and the 1865.
Flora.
Coming up, Hey, you know what? I want to announce to announce a show while you're here. Well, yeah. This has not been announced. Here we go. Wednesday, May 25th. Coming on the show is Pete Kohler and his wife, Mei Ling. This should be interesting. Those that know Mei Ling, she works as a guitar tech, not only with her husband, but on other bands. So this is going to be cool. It's a husband and wife. We'll talk about, stuff we talk about.
That's it.
And yeah. So we got Pete coming on along with Mei Ling. We'll talk about, touring, playing music together, cool stuff like that, and yes, Women in the Pit representing hard on the flyer. I think Mei Ling is a big supporter, Women of the Pit. So yes. Yeah, listen, we mix it up. We try to mix it up a little bit here, We try to mix it up. Anyway, I'll see you later.
I'll see you later.
Hey, there you are. See ya. All right, what's happening? This is the New York Hardcore Chronicles Live, and we are sponsored by New York Hardcore Comics, The Organic Grill, the Texas Silver Rush, Chain Reaction Records and Skateboards, Generation Records, DTFM Vinyl Distro, 126 Hardcore Clothing, and located in Corpus Christi, Chacho's Tacos. Opened their doors in 2001, home of the almighty Chacho's Taco. They cook up an incredible home-style Tex-Mex food, and this month they're celebrating their 20th anniversary. They've been supporting underground music since the beginning. In their own words, we ain't stopping anytime soon. Touring bands that play Corpus Christi, swing by, get a home-cooked meal at Chacho's Tacos. We got you. The underground scene will never die. Please follow us on Facebook or on Instagram. Come on now. DTFM Vinyl Distro is a record store that specializes in underground music, punk, ska, hardcore metal, and more. Located in the heart of Fargo, North Dakota's industrial district. Shop in person or online at www.dtfmvinyldistro.com, where the motto is, her name is Rio, and she dances on death to false metal. By the way, I don't know if I said it, but Warren Cucurullo is from Canarsie, Brooklyn. And Jay Cucurullo, his brother, grew up with some of the Biohazard guys. So we always cut Warren Cucurullo some slack because he's from Canarsie. That said, let's bring on our guest. Let's clear the deck. Here we go. Yo, here we go. All righty. Today's guest is an American musician hailing from the Garden State of New Jersey. He is known for his work with the bands Mucky Pup and for over 30 years, Dog Eat Dog. He is also a voracious horror film enthusiast who has directed 7 short films and has crafted numerous film soundtracks over the years. Please welcome, coming at us from Bergen County, New Jersey, Mr. Dave Neabore. Buddy!
Hey, Drew. How are you? Good to see you.
How are you?
Doing very well. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, I got a good feeling about it today.
Yeah, it's different. Something besides New York hardcore to talk about, which is fun.
Yeah, we kind of stray off the path every now and then, but there's definitely, we're all connected, here. Totally. So that said, what's the latest? What's going on with you since the pandemic? What's been going on? Bring us up to speed.
All right. So pandemic hit and basically Dog Eat Dog shut down. So nothing was going on for a while. And, all of us were in that same boat. We don't know what's going on. We don't know when this thing's going to end. We just know as musicians, we can't play. So I started watching a ton of movies. I mean, I started keeping a list March 21st. And started watching movies and was like, well, this is going to be it for a while. And then, things started. I got back in the studio and I started working on some music. And then Dog Eat Dog was starting to get into the studio and work on our new album. So we started doing studio. Then back in November, we finally played our first show. So we went a year and a half with nothing. But once we went back to Europe in November, it was a great show in Czech Republic. Then we went back again and did Holland and Germany in October. And then we went back again and we did Poland and Germany in December, and it felt good. Everything was getting back together, and shows were happening. We got a lot of calls in the U.S. We started doing shows on our own, and then we started doing a tour with Life of Agony last month that got cut a little short. But we're going to make up those shows soon. So all I can say is, as far as band activity goes, everything's heating back up now, and everything looks good. So it's a good time.
And now, when I think of Netherlands and Belgium and Belgium, those are like dog eat dog hotspots, right?
Totally.
They friggin' like Belgium. You guys are like the friggin' Beatles over there.
Yeah. Well, it's one of the only countries that we actually received a gold record for.
That is awesome.
So we're very proud of that. And Belgium came through, and in a tiny little country, we sold, a huge amount of records. So that was.
We played with you guys. We played with you guys in Belgium.
Holland, right? No, Belgium. You're right. It was the Iperfest.
And it was interesting because Zum, who comes on the show a lot, who was playing bass in Antidote, like, his dad, is out in Alpine, New Jersey, and dog eat dog, saw you guys back in the day, and you guys were playing on the big stage. We were playing in the tent, and I'm like, come with me. My friends at Dog Eat Dog are playing, and you guys start playing, and the whole play, like everyone from all directions come, and he looked at me and he was like, I had no idea. I'm like, yeah, man, they're friggin' huge in Belgium and in a lot of places in Europe. And that's so awesome that you guys have maintained that and nourished that through the years. I know you guys go back there over the years, you go back and do a couple of weeks, and right?
Yeah. Oh, every year, we like before the pandemic, we were averaging like 50 shows a year in Europe. Yeah. And including big festivals in the summer, and then club dates in the fall and all that. So we were on a really good trajectory, actually rebuilding our fan base over years. And then the pandemic hit, and it was like, oh man, the momentum was just shot. But
am I remembering correctly that right when the pandemic hit, you guys had like the most ambitious European run that you were gonna that you had in years, right? Yeah. Like 30 shows or something.
Yeah, literally, we had plane tickets for like April 1st or 2nd. We were supposed to play April 1st on our birthday and start the tour, and March 22nd it got canceled. So it was like a week before. It was horrible. God,
damn.
But hey, we're not the only band. Everybody went through the same thing.
Hey, but we're back now, right?
Love it. And we're ready to go. We have a trip to Belgium next month.
Good. Let's talk a little bit about how you came up. Did you grow up in a musical household? Was it and what were your early musical influences?
I got into heavy metal as a young kid. I don't know what it was that attracted me to it. I think it was the album covers, hearing Kiss, seeing like Gene Simmons imagery, and then seeing like Meatloaf Bat Out of Hell album cover.
Good one.
I didn't know that wasn't heavy. I was always in the record stores as a young kid looking at these Iron Maiden album covers, whatever it may be. If it had that old horror imagery, metal imagery, I was like just attracted to it. So I would scrape nickels together or whatever and go to the store and buy, something just based on the cover. And I just started becoming like obsessed with heavy metal. I didn't have music.
What was there music? Like in your house, did you have brothers or sisters? Were your parents musicians? Like, what was there music in your house?
There was. I had an older sister who listened to records and stuff, so we listened to some music together. But neither of my parents were musical. The only instrument in my house was a little baby grand piano that I grew up with. So I would always be like hitting the piano, but I always wanted to play guitar. And my parents were always saying, "Well, you have to take piano lessons." I never knew that later in my life I would be playing keyboards and stuff, and I would need to know how to do that. So I was just blowing all off. I want to play guitar. By the time I was 12, they couldn't stop me from playing guitar, and I started playing bass, and I got into a band right away. So my musical career started around 12 years old, around 1982.
And the early influences, did you have any peers that play, or is it with just your Kiss and stuff like that?
Right. So Kiss, number one. And then I would put Iron Maiden and probably Black Sabbath and Rush, including Ozzy. Those are like the early bands, Van Halen. Those are the bands that I would like nonstop listening to records by. And we're talking about around like 1980 is where I really started. Like, I'm a little younger, so I was already into heavy metal by the time I was 10 years old.
Wow.
So that's just the path I was always on. It was heavy metal, punk, and then hardcore. And, it wasn't until I was like in my early 20s where I started realizing, oh, there's other kinds of music, like, whatever it may be. You start to expand your horizons, but I was definitely fixated on metal in my younger age.
And I know you ended up in Mucky Pup at a young age, right?
Yep. 18.
18?
Yeah.
How did that come about?
So when I was 15, we were playing a local club in New Jersey called the China Club. It doesn't exist anymore, but it was in the middle of a little suburban town, and bands, national acts would come through, and bands.
What town was that?
It was Hillsdale, New Jersey.
I don't even know where that is.
Yeah, so Biohazard played there back in the early 90s.
Wow.
Everybody would play there back in the day. Hades, everybody. And they allowed young kids to play. So we were 15 years old, but we had a venue to play our cover songs and originals, and there was no drinking on Sundays, so young bands could play there. Cool. And I got seen by the guys in Mucky Pup while I was playing with my band. And years later, I got a call saying, hey, the guys in Mucky Pup remember you from the China Club, and they wanted you to try out. So I was like, oh, this is awesome. Was not what I was expecting. I was expecting to graduate high school, go to college, and figure out some kind of career. But, this happened in my senior year of high school. I tried out for the band. I joined immediately after my tryout, and we toured Europe. And I was in the studio making the Boy in a Man's World record. And this is before I was even 19. So I
was Dan Nastasi in the band?
Yeah, Dan was in the band.
Hold on a second. Hey, what are you doing here? Yo.
It's St. Patrick's Day.
How'd you get the link, man?
You sent it to me.
Love you,
Hey,
Dan.
I got one question
What's happening?
because I'm at an Irish bar right now for St. Patrick's Day, and I'm
ahead.
I'm pretending I'm Irish. I just heard
What's
what you
the
said
question?
about Monkey. Dave played with the band, but he was the only bass player we could find that was willing to do it. That's how we got him.
Okay, I didn't know that.
All right, I just wanted to pop by. I know you guys are talking all things death today, so I don't want to.
No.
I know nothing about horror, right? But I do know one thing. Dave, yes or no answer. Is or was skateboarding a fad?
You like to think so. I'm saying no.
It's a sport.
That's what it changed lines.
I was right. It was a fad. No, I'm kidding. All right, man. I love you guys both.
All right, don't get too wasted,
Right,
and don't
the
drive
best.
if you're drinking.
Love you, Dan.
How the hell did he get the link?
Good surprise.
Did you send him the link?
No.
How did he get the link?
I've been spending a lot of time with that guy lately. Love him.
Yeah, man.
So, basically, I didn't realize I was the only guy who tried out. It was me or nothing for Mucky. Luckily, I could play the bass, so I made it, and spent 3 years and got a real great education in Mucky Pup. And then I felt like, all right,
let me just say, Mucky Pup was Chris singing,
Yep.
Dan was playing
Yep.
guitar, you and Chris's brother Bouge on drums.
That's the
That's
line.
4-piece.
Yep. That's always the lineup that I was in. Then Dan left to join Murphy's Law, and
Right.
Sean Kilkenny joined.
Yeah.
And so it was me, Sean, John, and Chris for 2 years. And then me and Sean left and started Dog Eat Dog. And then they went through all the members that they went after. I think Dan came back for a while, and then, the history goes on.
Mucky Pup's an interesting group. Were you in the band when you did that European tour with Biohazard?
No, that was right when I left. They did that on the Now album. But that was really cool because them taking Biohazard on tour,
that's what I'm getting at.
Led to Biohazard taking Dog Eat Dog on tour. You know what I'm saying? So like everything has its reason for being, and that it was very important. And I'm glad that Mucky took them and started this kind of long-term bonding. With each other.
It's sort of like a trick question. Like, name the band that Biohazard first toured Europe with. You're thinking, or whatever. You think it's going to, Monkey Pup,
Yeah, but that shows you the strength of Monkey Pup in Europe in the late 80s to early 90s. It was a big deal. If you watch some of the videos,
sure,
late 80s, I mean, kids are just going insane for Monkey Pup. And here I am, like, I never knew I was going to be a part of this world. But man, once I got a taste of how, energetic the kids in Europe were and the love, I just was like, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. So my whole life got changed because honestly, I thought I would go to college. I didn't know what I was going to do. And, life just kind of made my decisions for me. Yeah,
it's great. And you're fortunate that you get to do something that you have a passion for and you love doing, which is music and art and yeah. So, let's sort of take a sidestep here. But before we're, you know what? That reminds me. Hold on a second. Hey, what about you, bro?
What's up, guys? What's up, Dave?
Hey, Matt.
What about me?
Hey, Matt. What's up, buddy?
What's up, gentlemen?
Hey, this is our abrupt segue to T-shirt of the week. What do you got?
Okay, so unfortunately, Dave, it's not an original, but I used to see you guys in Allentown at the Airport Bingo Hall. I would see you guys. It seemed like every other weekend I was watching your bands. So it's not an original, but you played about 10 years ago at Mexicali Live in Jersey. You guys did a show which was filmed, and I'm in it. My wife's in it, but it's this.
Oh yeah, that's
nice.
That's yeah.
Not the original, but I picked this up at I think it was Mexicali Live where you guys played, right?
Yeah, when we filmed the live Monkey Pup home video, the DVD.
Is that like a retro,
and you guys had a comedian.
Go ahead.
What's that?
Go ahead.
There was a comedian that opened for you guys that night.
Oh yeah.
And I thought it was the coolest thing. There was no opening band. It was a comedian.
Right. Well, that was Chris Milne's idea to try something different. And I don't remember. I remember being there, but I kind of remember the comedian maybe like using a lot of curse words and bombing. Maybe I'm wrong. Was it a success? Was it funny?
I thought it was awesome because it was different. You know what I mean?
Cool. Yeah. It's been so long. I can't remember if it went off well.
I can't think of really any other show I've ever been to where there was a comedian. So
well, I can. Doggy Dog had no opening band one time on tour, and our percussion player was really funny. And we said, go up on stage in Germany and do stand-up comedy because we have nothing. And he did it, but no German could understand his DC slang. And they didn't know what to make of it. And the only ones laughing were us in the back, like cracking up.
Oh, right on.
That reminds me of when I was on tour with the Misfits in '97, when I was managing Sub-Zero. I was out with the Misfits, and they had an acoustic guitar backstage, and I would play it, and we would goof around, and it was Doyle or Jerry or somebody dared me to go out and play acoustic for the Punks, and I went out as like an opening act and played like acoustic, and it went over incredibly well. And I ended up doing it. Again and again. I think I have a hold on. I have a picture. But that was like, it started as a dare and it kind of went from there. Here it is. Get a load of this. This shit is funny. Someone just sent this to me recently. Here I am. This is like Italy or something. There it is with the Misfits.
Oh my God.
Oh my God, look at you. Awesome.
And it started as a dare. Like, no way do you have the balls to go out in this squat in Italy and play like Bob Dylan songs. And I went out and they fucking loved it.
That's cool.
That's all.
Show's got to go on.
Yeah, so I think the bottom line is, if you have an unusual opening act or whatever, don't be scared because something different like acoustic or comedy actually might work. And you're talking about something that was 10 years ago and you still remember it. You see that?
Oh yeah. It was cool. It was neat, Yeah.
So that's a great memory. And that's the power of doing something original and different.
Yeah, it's cool. Matt, I got to shout out. Where is? Hold on. Here you go. This is exciting because for those that may not know, Matt Gray's playing drums in Incendiary Device, which is our new-ish band. We've decided to make a fresh start with the whole antidote drama and hysteria, and we are Incendiary Device, and we got a bunch of shows coming up, and we're recording, and good stuff, man. Looking forward to it, Matt, and I'm glad you're a part of it.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah, man. We got, and Sean Brennan too. Of course, there he is. Sean Brennan's playing guitar. It's really just the extension of Antidote NYHC, but it's nice to have a fresh start, you know.
Agreed.
That said, well, thanks, Matt.
Love it.
Awesome.
Anybody you want to shout out on this Sunday?
My wife for sticking it out with me, because us buying this house we're trying to buy a house, and it's killing us. It's terrifying buying a house at this time, especially when every other week it's going up in price. It's ridiculous. So
you're taking a big step.
Terrifying.
And it's awesome though. You're going to own your own place, and
Yep.
you know, I'll come and visit.
You're taking a
Absolutely.
big step.
I'll talk to you later.
You know, own your
Awesome.
own.
Take care, Dave.
All right, see ya.
There you go.
You're taking a big step.
I'll talk to you later.
You know,
Take care, Dave.
all right, see ya. There you go.
What's echoing like that?
Oh,
I'll talk to you later.
Is something open on your end? What is
I screwed up. Sorry. I'm new to that.
Either you're on the show or you're watching the show, baby. Hey, Mei Ling, shouting out Mei Ling. We're excited about you coming on the show, Mei. Let's sidestep again, and while we're still young, early on, what films influenced you? What resonated for you as a child?
So, when you're a kid, it's like you don't necessarily you're not going out looking. I'm talking like 7 years old, 8. You just see what's in front of you, So like whatever comes on television, whatever, your parents drag you to see. So you never know what it's going to be that affects you. But I can tell you my earliest memories were like some of the movies on television, when Jaws played on TV, when The Exorcist played on TV. Those were movies where just hearing the sounds of them, like I freaked out. I mean, and when I started going to the cinema, which was in the late 70s, I started seeing some of the horror movies like Jaws 2 and The Deep, and then cable television started coming on, and in the early 80s I finally saw Alien, and all these movies just freaked me out, and they all left huge impressions on me. So I think that the movies that traumatize you, the movies that have these memories of scaring the shit out of you, are actually the ones that turn you into the lover of horror, because you've got this like almost traumatic history, and you just almost want to conquer that fear, so you just keep going deeper and deeper. So by the time I was around 14 or 15 and VCRs were everywhere, we're talking about early 80s, mid 80s, everybody VCR finally, and cable was out. There was just a flood of horror movies. It was so easy now to see horror movies. So those are the early ones, the real early classics. I didn't really start getting into like more of the obscure stuff till cable TV, where I saw like Humanoids from the Deep and Children Shouldn't Play with Dead Things, and there were a lot of non-horror movies too. I mean, I would remember seeing 2001: A Space Odyssey on cable. Would play all the time. So I was watching it over and over, and it was just great. So I was just a person that was just fascinated with film in general, and just movies in general. And the early HBO, I don't know if you remember when they came out, they used to only show like 5 movies a day repeated 3 times every like 3 hours, so like spend the, you would watch the same movies over and over. And so like I've seen The Beastmaster 100 times just because cable, and you remember HBO used to stand for Hey Beastmaster's on.
I'm a little bit older than you, and one film that I remember as a very young person watching, which really resonated for me at the time, was this.
Oh yeah.
And this is I poked around, and this is actually an original poster. I mean, there's a lot of posters for this film, but this is the original poster, more terrifying than Hitchcock's Psycho. And you know, I was thinking about this. I was thinking about this as I was doing it, and I think part of as a child, what made this film so terrifying was that you're watching it alone at night. You know, you're hiding out and watching it. It's late, and it's black and white. The film's black. It felt so this film felt real as a kid. It was like black and white. And it also takes place like in an isolated community. So as a kid, when you're alone late at night, and let's say you're not in the city and like you're a little isolated, this movie was really scary fucking movie, man.
Yeah.
You know?
There's no doubt that it's an absolute essential, one of the classics of all time.
Yeah.
When I was younger and I saw it, I immediately was attracted to like more gory horror movies. I wanted blood and guts. And when I saw Night of the Living Dead the first time, I can remember I was 12 years old and I wasn't scared. I was like, this is really a great movie. It wasn't until later where I started really appreciating how incredible it was. I think it hit me at a time like I never really appreciated the 60s horror and the 50s horror, the Hammer films, Vincent Price films. I never liked those. I always thought, I want the more modern gory movies. It wasn't until later into my 20s where I started going backwards into the 50s and 60s and realizing these are incredible movies. These are just wonderful, beautifully shot. And Night of the Living Dead among them. It's like sometimes you can get scared, or sometimes you just have to, really learn to appreciate how good something is by looking in hindsight. And Night of the Living Dead for me is one of those movies where I love it now more than ever.
That's interesting. It's interesting. I guess, by the time you were kind of there were other movies that sort of built on Night of the Living Dead, and you saw those first. Exactly. It was almost right. They almost took the elements from Night of the Living Dead that were really intense, and they magnified that. I guess. Yeah. Like what would an example of that be? Like, excuse me?
Dawn of the Dead, Dawn of the Dead, the sequel. Yeah. When you look at that, it's such a powerhouse that you look at that,
it's intense.
It feels like a demo, for the movie. Yeah. And that's what happened to me. You're exactly right. I saw those movies and then went back and was like, this is lame. I didn't appreciate black and white and 60s horror until my 20s, where I started getting heavily into them and realizing this is real shit right here. Like gore and everything, slasher movies, I love them, but there was so much talent in some, and the lighting and the camera work and the acting, it was just so incredible.
Let's get jiggy with it and talk a little bit about our favorite film. Like, I don't want to say horror film directors, but because directors in general, and like so George Romero, of course, Night of the Living Dead. Are you the kind of dude, like I know Steven Messina goes to like locations and stuff. Have you ever been to the Evans City Cemetery that they shot Night of the Living Dead?
No, I've never been there. I did go to the Monroeville Mall where they made Dawn of the Dead. So I am a person that actually does like to go to locations. Recently, I was at the Amityville Horror House, the original house.
Yeah, wait, I have that.
Yeah,
I have that.
If it's possible for me to do a location, I went to the Sentinel in Brooklyn, that house where they shot the Sentinel.
Of course. Talk about 70s movies, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, there you go. Yeah. So like, I'm that kind of guy too. I'm obsessed. So like, I'm always thinking about horror movies or locations. I go to horror conventions. I've met George Romero a couple times. Most of the big names. Just to shake their hands and just to be in their presence. I always hope to take some of that, even just shaking a hand, some of the energy and use it.
I love the shirt. I love the shirt you're wearing here, bro.
I make a joke. Guys wear the shirts of the band they're going to see. Well, who wears the shirt of the haunted house?
That's friggin' awesome, bro.
I make no apologies for that. I love it.
We mentioned George Romero, and I see the Creep Show poster behind you. Yeah, I mean, any George Romero sleeper films that you feel like people didn't get its just due? Anything that's sort of like, can you recommend, like maybe deserves a second look?
Yep, absolutely. I'm so glad I have my IMDb here so I can look through. But I just watched one he did, one of his first short films called The Amusement Park.
Yeah, that was a lost lost film. That film was screened and disappeared.
Yep.
For like 30, 40 years, right?
So it's on, I believe it's, if I'm not mistaken, it's on one of the streaming services, Shudder or something like that.
Yeah.
And I just watched it, and it, you know, it's raw and rough around the edges, but you know, the fact that it was made by like a Christian funded, you know, group about treating old people better, you know, that was the whole point of the movie. And what he ended up making was like almost a horror film about, you know, aging, and it's just amazing. But one that I love by him, I watched recently, a lot of people don't know, is called Night Riders.
I was about, yo, that is a really offbeat, like knights on motorcycles. Well, I got to find the poster as you talk. Go ahead.
Yeah. So Night Riders is so great, for one, because if you're a fan of George Romero and you've seen all his movies, especially the early ones, you're going to see like literally every cast member he ever worked with in that movie somewhere. It's like a who's who. Even Stephen King has a little quick cameo in it. And the cast is just so great. But if you really look close, the editing and everything, it's very similar to Dawn of the Dead. It's not a horror movie, but it's almost like right after Dawn of the Dead, he made this movie, and there's a lot of similarities in the look and the feel of the movie. And
there it is.
Ed Harris, who was in Creepshow after that. Like I said, it's just a who's
that's Ed Harris on the poster.
Yep. Yeah. What a great movie. Really original idea. Knights on modern day, like motorcycles, you know, at the Renaissance fair type thing. They get involved with the local police and locals. And, you know, it's a great little lost, unknown, underrated Romero.
Cool one. Yeah, for sure.
And Bruiser, if you don't know Bruiser.
I don't know Bruiser.
Bruiser actually had a song by the Misfits in it.
Ah, is that right?
Yeah. And Bruiser was made in 2000, and the video for the Misfits song that appeared in that movie was directed by George Romero also. So I'm going to my little soundtrack, and it was the song by the Misfits, "Scream."
Michael Graves song, right?
Yeah, Graves. So they made a video, and George Romero directed the video. That was a tie-in with Bruiser. So check out Bruiser as well, one of his later films.
Let's talk about the guy. I know you're a big fan. The guy who directed this film.
Oh yeah, David Cronenberg.
David Cronenberg, and you know, he of course, and he also directed this, which is, a lot of people friggin' love this film. I guess in a certain way, correct me if I'm wrong, but this sort of really set this sort of genre into motion. Could you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, it's referred to as body horror or something, you know.
Is that right?
Well, yeah, because, you know, Cronenberg really kind of began that whole thing about your mental trauma manifesting itself into, you know, body changes and things. It really started with The Brood, and even They Came From Within, or you know, all his early movies, Videodrome, where the hand would become the gun, and you know, his body was almost like a living VCR. Just incredible. So all these movies, Scanners. I mean, the minute you saw that head explode, I was like. And you know, the movie is a horror movie, but it really isn't like a gore movie. It just has one, like, you know, showstopper at the beginning, and then a nice ending with some exploding heads and stuff. But it's really a more intelligent, in my opinion, sci-fi film. And I really think Videodrome is the masterpiece. Although I will go on record as saying The Fly is probably Cronenberg's overall best movie.
I love that film, man.
It's not a bad scene or frame or extra minute or second in that movie. It's literally.
And goddamn, Gina Davis looks fly in it too. She's
great.
She's really that film. Oh, shouting out Ed Harris, who's from New Jersey, apparently. All right, give me some love. Yeah, The Fly was great. I've seen it a couple of times, man.
Oh yeah. I mean,
any thoughts on the sequel?
I like The Fly too. It's in my collection, and I got the soundtrack and stuff. It's a good movie, but it doesn't have the same kind of power as the original. I think not the original, because The Fly is actually a remake, of course, of the Vincent Price movie.
Yeah, right.
Which is classic on its own.
Which is great too at the time. That was great. You know,
who doesn't say "Help me, help me"?
You're right. Help me, help me.
But yeah, the remake of The Fly is one of those rare remakes that I believe is better than the original.
I saw it in the movies, man, and when it came out, and it was really good. I remember, it was for sure. Joe Frank says those pre-CGI effects always seem more visceral.
Yeah, any day of the week, I will take puppets or fake anything, but as long as it's really on the screen, it feels real to me. So I will take pre-CGI special effects any day of the week over any kind of CGI.
Let's go here, and the director who directed this.
Oh yeah, David Lynch. And I was doing my homework for the show, and interesting, I think the film he directed before this was Eraserhead. So I think he went from Eraserhead to The Elephant Man. This was a fantastic film. I saw this in the movies too when it came out. Researching this today made me want to revisit this. I want to watch this with my gal. Like, this was that good a film. I haven't seen this in 30 years. This was a great film. Oh yeah, the Criterion Blu-ray is sitting right under my TV right now.
Is that right?
That's under my immediately to watch pile. I've been waiting for a good day to watch it again. But I've seen it so many times. That was one of those early cable movies too, where it was just on all the time. And if you watch Eraserhead and then you watch The Elephant Man, you realize there's so much of Eraserhead look and feel, that industrial feel, that industrial sound design, and it's all there. And that's what's amazing about The Elephant Man is you take the insanity out of Eraserhead and you put in a story that's just gut wrenching. And David Lynch really didn't have to change the look of his film at all. He actually just put in like a movie with so much heart in it that, I mean, it's hard not to be moved to tears watching The Elephant Man, because John Merrick is such an innocent, and it's such a powerful film. And
who played John Merrick? Who played the Elephant? It was John Hurt, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Sure.
And I recommend that movie. Every human should see that movie just to see where your sympathy for humanity lies. Because if you don't walk away moved from this, you've got a very hardened heart. Because
I want to shout out Dan Loreno, who said, "Didn't Mel Brooks produce that?" As a matter of fact, Mel Brooks did produce this movie, and his wife Anne Bancroft is in this film.
Yep.
And Mel Brooks didn't want his name on it, because you see Mel Brooks's name on a film and you're like, oh, all right, Blazing Saddles, Young Frankenstein. So yes, Mel Brooks produced The Elephant Man, and big shout out to Mel Brooks, who won an Oscar with my dad in 1963 for Best Short Film, The Critic. It's on YouTube. Go watch it. So
Lynch, is absolutely one of my favorite directors. Everything he does, is just incredible.
Give us another of your David Lynch favorites.
I mean, Blue Velvet will always be, my favorite, just because
disturbing.
Yeah, but like when it came out, there was nothing like it at all. It was a one of a kind, true. You see that first shot with that blue sky and the red rose and the white face, and you just know this is just something different. And it just hit me at the right time. I was about 15, 16 years old, and it was exactly what I needed. I was so drenched in horror. I needed something else. And I started getting into like surreal films and directors that were really like, beyond horror, just like true filmmakers. And, everything after Blue Velvet, I mean, Twin Peaks and Wild at Heart, everything. I was just an absolute diehard and still am. So
were you a big Twin Peaks fan?
Totally. So the first time I had seen Twin Peaks, it was after the initial season had come and gone. I actually missed the boat, believe it or not, because we were touring Europe in that time. That was around 1990, and I was out of the country, and I missed it. So when I got home, a friend gave me a videotape with the first season on it, and I was able to catch up, and I was like, oh my God, it's the greatest show I've ever seen. And, you know, it's just one of those things that just keeps going. And season 3, which, you know, played a few years ago, just another cause for celebration. Lynch is still going and still playing by his own rules.
Yeah, he definitely does his own thing, and doesn't really make feature films these days, too, right? I mean, he's involved in a lot of other stuff, but oh yeah, right. Hey, shouting out Brett the Bookie, my neighbor, Cronenberg's Dead Ringers. Okay.
Oh yeah,
that one doesn't get.
Yeah, it's follow up to The Fly. Yeah. Definitely great. I remember seeing it in the theater when it came out.
I never saw it. I never saw that.
Oh, definitely got to see it. It's not as horror as his other ones, but it's definitely disturbing.
I want to talk about. Let's. I know we're jumping around here.
It's okay.
But I think this is an important director, and this is an important genre. And let's talk a little bit about this.
Oh yeah.
Now, you know, this Lucio.
Yeah.
Fulci. You know, you know, one thing I know this is an absolute classic and a beloved film. I never realized that this is actually a sequel to Dawn of the Dead, right?
In name only. So I'm sorry, Dawn of the Dead was released as Zombie in Italy.
Right.
So in Italy, Zombie was released as Zombie 2.
Correct.
And so even though it wasn't a direct sequel, you know, it was in name only, but, you know, why not? The Italians are known for cashing in on basically every movie that's a hit. There's an Italian ripoff of it.
Right.
And some of those ripoffs are just super entertaining. I collect them all. I love them. Every Jaws ripoff, every ripoff, and every Zombie ripoff. So
right.
You can see behind me, I've got my original poster for Zombie, and it's signed by Lucio Fulci. I met him in 1996 in January in a snowstorm in New York City. And it was like a foot or 2 of snow. It was ridiculous. And I was one of probably 100 people that made it there. And I stood online and I met Lucio Fulci. I shook his hand. He signed my poster. It's hard to see, but, you know, there's his autograph. He signed it.
Nice.
Because the pen wasn't working. So he kept going. And today, March 13th, is the day he passed away.
Wow. Isn't that ironic? And
27 years ago today, I remember there was no internet. So I found out about it by reading a magazine. And in it said, you know, rest in peace to Lucio Fulci. I mean, that's how I found out. It wasn't like the news like it is today where it's instant. It took a month or so before I found out. I remember we were in the studio recording the Play Games record where I got that magazine. And I was like, oh my God, Fulci died. And I luckily had just met him literally 3 months before. So it is extremely important to me. His films, his style, his gore, everything, just like him and Argento and Bava were the 3 Italian directors that just made me love Italian cinema. And if you see my collection, and for real, you know, the amount of Italian films I have is very large. And it really is because of those 3 guys just setting me on that path of like, wow, Italians do everything different. They do everything in their way. And it's so obvious it's Italian when you're watching a movie. And that's a beautiful thing when you can have an entire country's output of work have a unique look to it.
Well, Mario Bava, you know, was extremely influential, you know, the master of Italian horror. But, you know, he influenced Scorsese, Tarantino, Coppola. John Landis cites him as an influence. Tim Burton. I mean, he was really, you know, he was the man. And Dario Argento too, right?
absolutely. I mean, Bava worked on an Argento film, did some special effects in Inferno, and obviously he's the master. What I love about Bava is he cared more about filming the movie and the special effects and doing all the lighting and doing all that than he did about the fame. He actually truly loved making the films, and sometimes he didn't name on the movies because he didn't care. He wasn't looking for fame. He loved the act of actually making the movie and creating special effects that nobody had ever done before. And to me, that's the most inspiring thing about him, is like, all these people are like, I want to make a movie and I want my name all over it. And he's just like, I just want to make the movie. And I want to try to challenge myself doing special effects that no one ever did. So he used to take pieces of glass and put like a picture on the glass, and then take the glass and put it on next to a mountain. And all of a sudden there's a castle on top of the mountain because he's just filming a magazine cutout through glass, but it looks incredible. And like now all of his movies are out on Blu-ray, and he's got a lot of commentary tracks by Tim Lucas, the guy who basically wrote the book on Bava, literally, All the Colors in the Dark. And his commentaries are just absolutely fascinating. So over the past couple of years, I've been buying those Blu-rays and listening to how the movies were made. And there are parts where he goes, okay, look, you're going to see a reflection in the glass now. And you can see it, and you can actually see like the camera in the glass by accident. Right. And it's, those moments to me are just, they're just beautiful moments.
I'm assuming like me, you just love those directors' commentaries and like, hearing the insight from the director and how he pulled off these films. And I know a lot of those, and I'm referencing here, of course, I'm assuming that this is your DVD collection.
That's only a small part of it. I'm proud to say you can see in the bottom here, every DVD you see right there has a double behind it. So it's actually like 2 layers. And then off to the side, you can see some of my records and some of the stuff. But honestly, you'd have to multiply that by 4 just for the DVDs. And that doesn't show everything. I've been collecting crap since the early 80s when Fangoria magazine used to come out, and they used to have like records and books, and you could cut them out and mail a check in, and you would receive your books and records. Like that's how my collection started, was through the back pages of Fangoria.
Here's interesting. Pietro De Ruvo says there's a really good Italian death metal band called Fulci. Obviously, they're big fans. Have you heard of this band?
I have their records, and I know.
Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. When we went to Italy in Rome a few years ago, one of the guys from the band brought me their album, and they're just great. I love them. I've listened to all their music, and I highly recommend them if you're into death metal. Very good stuff.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Hey, let's take a break here. Let me shout out some sponsors, and let's come back with Sid the Kid, and we will do album of the week. All right. See you in a couple minutes. All right. There you have it. This is the New York Hardcore Chronicles Live, and our guest today is Dave Neabore. We're talking horror films. We're going deep. It's a deep dive today, kids. We are sponsored by New York Hardcore Comics, The Organic Grill, the Texas Silver Rush, Chain Reaction Records and Skateboards, Chacho's Tacos, Generation Records, DTFM Vinyl Distro, and 126 Hardcore Clothing. It's a streetwear brand for restless individuals who do not compromise. They are about being positive, spontaneous, and true to yourself. For years, they experimented with several printing methods and materials and collaborated with a large number of designers and illustrators, always giving room for fresh perspectives while retaining the hardcore attitude. Get in touch with them at www.126clothing.com. Also, Chain Reaction Records and Skateboards, located in Lakewood, Colorado, is the Rocky Mountain headquarters for all things punk, hardcore, and metal. Established in 2014, they have the largest selection of records, CDs, shirts, stickers, patches, and accessories between Chicago and Los Angeles. From the pit to the ditch, they got your back. Get in touch with them at www.chainreactionrecords.com. Come on now, the Texas Silver Rush is a jewelry design firm and boutique store located in the birthplace of the Texas country music scene in Fredericksburg, Texas. They specialize in working with musicians in all music genres to design and create unique one-off pieces, as well as style them for stage album covers, promo photos, and social media exposure. Their client list includes Rock and Roll Hall of Famers Greg Rolle, Ringo Starr, and of course, your friends and mine, Agnostic Front. During this current pandemic, which kind of seems to be over, All information and online sales are being taken at their Facebook and Instagram pages, and of course, www.thetexassilverrush.com. Want to do the next 4 shows while we're here? Come on now. Here we go. Let me clear the deck. The next 4 shows. Coming up Wednesday, April 6th, comedian, proprietor of Side One Dummy Records, musician. He was the front man for Wax and 22 Jacks. Mr. Joe Sib will be on the show. Sunday, April 10th, Matt Melnick. Queens represent. Dark Side NYC, download, disassociate. Wednesday, April 20th. I think we just announced this one. Doug Carrion will be on the show from Dag Nasty, Cottonmouth Kings, The Descendants, and Field Day, which is his new band. And then, people are excited, Sunday, April 24th, the L'Amour Retrospective Show with DJ Alex Kane will be on the show. So, don't you know, they will be on the show. Yo, you know what? I want to shout out, I want to shout out my man, Alex Mitchell, and I want to let everybody know out on the West Coast that Circus of Power is playing the Whiskey A Go-Go on May 20th. Cool flyer. Go see Circus of Power at the Whiskey on May 20th. Want to mention also, hold on, what's going on here? Is that Joe Satriani? Where? I wish. Let's get Joe Satriani on this show. Whatever happened to the Joey Shithead interview? It just flitted away. You know, he got real busy and it just flitted away. We got to circle back to that at some point. We got to get Joey Shithead on the show. But I will tell you this. If you want to know what else is coming up, here's the next 4 shows. All right. Wednesday, April 27th, Carl Kennedy from the Rods and the Metal Blade in-house producer will be on the show. Sunday, May 1st, Mr. Caves, graffiti legend, Lords of Brooklyn will be on the show. Sunday, May 15th, the Life of Agony Sound of Scars documentary show with director Leigh Brooks, Joey Z, and Alan Robert from the band. And of course, we announced it earlier, on May 25th, Pete Kohler and Mei Ling will be on the show. So there's lots going on. The show ain't going nowhere. Like Chacho's Tacos. We ain't going anywhere anytime soon, right? So, yeah. I want to mention this a week from today. If you didn't know and you're in the New York area, Sunday matinees are back on the Bowery. We will not be doing this show a week from today because 24/7 Spies, Ache, Neighborhood Shit, Serial Poets, and Iconicide playing the Bowery Electric. It is free. If it's free, it's for me. Get your ass down there. All right? And then, of course, the show after that is Rampage Fest 3. We are doing a High and the Mighty reunion show. We were just rehearsing last night. Big Rampage Fest 3 with Bride Riot, Fright, Scum City, Ape, Ma'afa, performing with Sab Gray from Iron Cross, the High and the Mighty. Come see us perform a bunch of songs I wrote when I was a teenager. Rebelmatic and Fahrenheit 451. So we're excited about that. Hey, I want to mention for those out there that watch the show and want to support the show needs your support. It really does. There is a Patreon page. Please support the show on Patreon. It's $2 tier, a $5 tier. Get with the program. This show needs your support. It really does. Times are changing. Things are changing. Yeah, and jump on. Really, I mean that, man. Show needs your support. Things are changing. I want to keep doing the show, and the only way I can do the show is if you support it. So, if you join Patreon, you get come do the walking tour with us for free. All kinds of content goes up there. My book is for free. T-shirt, all kinds of stuff. So please, I want to shout out a couple of my latest patrons, Dave Martin and Brenda Cato. There's also a PayPal address there. I mean it. I don't say it often. The show needs your support. That's how we do it. This is how we do it. What are you, a comedian, Rob Martin? You a funny guy coming into the chat room? Just wondering. You a funny guy? Is that it? Huh? There you go. What else? Oh, the walking tour for patrons. We're going out Saturday, April 23rd. So if you're a patron and you want to come out with us on the walking tour, that's Saturday, April 23rd. What's March 26th Boston show? What is that? Mei Ling. There you go. Yeah, please, man, support the show. Show needs support. It really does. I don't ask often, but, you know, Brockton. The Brockton show. Where's my Brockton show flyer? Huh? Where's my Brockton show flyer? Well, there's a Brockton show on March 26th. I'm going to be going up there for it. Looks that way. Dog Eat Dog, Mafa, Kings Never Die, Car Bomb Parade, last show with Nikki singing. Come on up. Dog Eat Dog, yes. Yeah, Dave, yep. Brockton. How the fuck did that show end up in Brockton? Like, what's in Brockton? You know who's from Brockton, Mass? Anybody? What famous figures from Brockton, Mass? Oh, Wisdom in War. All right. Okay. Hey, Mino, what's happening in Holland? I hope you're well. In Holland. We love Holland. What else did I want to mention? I think that's it. I covered a lot. That said, let's bring our guests back on and let's do album of the week. Two famous boxers. I'm driving. I can't type it. Yes. What two famous boxers hail from Brockton, Massachusetts? That's right. Rocky Marciano is one of them. Who is the other one? Come on. That's right. Brett the Bookie. Figures my neighbor Brett the Bookie would know. That's right. Marvelous Marvin Hagler. Yep. There you go. So, yep. BW says, this is actually the first time that's two actuallys in one sentence, my man, chalked your show out, and apparently I was already a subscriber. I like it, and I'll be tuning in when you're on, and if I'm on, okay. Hey, one thing's to be a subscriber, and if you're watching the show on rerun, there's a button there. You could press it and be a subscriber. There's a Patreon page. Join Patreon. There's a $2 tier or $5 tier. Get with the program. Gary Sullivan, I know. What's happening, brother? What's up with when the Cro-Mag's heading out? You know? It's okay, BW. Come watch. Come. You're welcome back anytime. Let's clear the deck here. I know that was a little long-winded, but it's that kind of a party, isn't it? Let's bring on our guest, Dave Neabore. And ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, you asked for it, you got it. Sid the Kid, album of the week. What's up, bro?
What's up, Drew? What's going on, Dave?
Hey.
So what the fuck? You're not DJing the show on Sunday? You're going out on the road with the take?
Yeah, man. Hey, when the road calls, you answer it, Drew. Come on. You, of all people, should know that, Mr. Musician.
Listen.
Come on now. As you say, come on now.
Am I a musician?
Well,
I'm a musician. I'm a filmmaker.
I'm
a wigwam. I'm a teepee. I'm a wigwam. I know what your problem is. You're too tense. All right. Anyway. All right, Sid. Let's. This is a good segue here. We're excited about this. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, album of the week. Boom.
Whoa.
Sid the Kid.
Where'd you go, Drew? Drew. I know this is a horror show.
What do you need? What do you need me for? Go ahead.
You just cut yourself off too quick, and you're the host.
Sid the Kid, you got the floor. Go ahead.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you know if you don't know this movie, why the fuck are you watching this show? But obviously, this is the soundtrack to Halloween. Now, a little bit of a quick backstory on it, because the person mainly the reason why this album even came out was John Howard Carpenter, or John Carpenter. For those who aren't even in the know who this guy is, you know, he's done the soundtracks for Halloween, The Fog, Escape from New York. I mean, he's done a lot of films, like mainly in the horror genre. But for me, he's even done two of my favorite movies in the 80s. That was Christine and Big Trouble in Little China. But simply put, the intro to this album, it's, you know, it's what's going to be coming. I believe this was recorded in 1978 at Sound Arts Studios in Los Angeles, California. And then it was later released, I believe, in August of 1979. But mainly, you know, just the main title itself, guys, that simple little piano, you know it's coming, but until you really watch that movie, it really, just the intro itself ties into just how the whole movie's gonna go. You know, I mean, obviously it's not the only song on the record, but that's what it's mainly known for. Like, you have titles like The Haunted House, The Shape Lurks, you know, Better Check the Kids. I mean, that's one of my favorite titles of the movie. But you know, it's, you know, originally I believe it was like a 33-minute album, but then, you know, when they did the 20th anniversary, they added tons more stuff. 40th anniversary, they just added even more, and then reprised a few things. Because besides, you know, Mr. Carpenter doing the composition and performance, Dan Wyman actually did a lot of the synthesizer programming for this album, and Peter Bergen was the engineer for the recording on this as well.
Well done, Sid. Dave, can you lend some perspective to this? I'm assuming this is the soundtrack that resonates for you.
Absolutely. Great info on there, Sid. Thank you for that. This is, I mean, Halloween is my all-time favorite horror movie. So we're starting at the top right here. And one of the reasons my all-time favorite horror movie is, part of the reason is the music. So I agree with Sid 100%. This is like, if you are going to collect horror soundtracks, this is the first one you should have in your collection. It is the absolute pinnacle, along with maybe Jaws and, you know.
Yeah, or even if for some people, if this was the very first horror movie they ever seen.
Yeah. Iconic.
You know,
and the music, it's, once you hear it, you never forget it. So this is really like, this is the benchmark for horror soundtracks as far as I'm concerned. And
yeah, again, David, you know, that intro itself just goes and it just carries on through the movie, because once you see the whole movie, if you're not too scared to do this and watch the whole thing, then you go back to that intro, you're like, oh shit.
Oh yeah.
So if you ever have the balls to watch it again, you know what's coming, but then you're like, oh fuck.
Yeah, and it's great. That record, the actual vinyl original soundtrack that you have pictured, is going for quite a bit of money these days.
Is that right?
Oh yeah. So I'm very happy that I actually have my original copy. The longer it goes on, the longer people wait, the more it's going to go up. This is already like around $100 for the vinyl.
Is this when Dave, when this film came out, was it was released as a soundtrack on vinyl at the time?
This thing you're seeing right here is the original soundtrack.
I see.
Yeah,
I pulled. Yeah, Sid sent this to me. I'm assuming. Yeah, of course he pulled it off the internet. You know.
But this is why I love Discogs, because all these record collector nerds have a lot of cool shit, and the stuff, even certain covers I've never seen. I'm like, I don't remember this variation or whatever. Like, Discogs is actually a pretty decent, you know, just to research certain, if you want to look for a specific cover, you know, not to like go off track on my point, but certain bands that have like one release, but 10 different versions of it. And you want to know which one you have, or you want to look that one up. There you go.
Cool. Well done, Sid. Thank you.
All right. All righty, guys. Thank you, everybody. You know, thank you everybody for watching. And I'm, you know, going to keep looking forward to seeing what comes up after this.
Okay. Talk to you in a bit.
See you next week.
Hey, let's talk about John Carpenter. You know, this is an early John Carpenter film. that I saw, while growing up here in New York. And it was like during the time there was like these, like The Warriors, Assault on Precinct 13, Death Wish. There was just like these New York is a hellhole movies, and
These
but
urban,
yeah. But
gang wars and
yeah.
tons of stuff. Even the post-nuclear gang war movies that came out in the early 80s, after Escape from New York, all the rip-offs and everything that went along. So all good stuff. I love Assault on Precinct 13. I mean, it is, technically what we'll call his first feature, although Dark Star was prior.
Yeah.
For Carpenter's first official feature, it's just such a solid film in every way that it just, nobody makes a movie for the first movie that's that good. Like, it just doesn't happen. It's just
the guys had a really just looking today and doing my homework, the guys had an incredible career, like very, very proficient and very, very sturdy. It's like just, and I have to share with you one of my all-time, I mean, to break it down in genres, but this is one of my all-time favorite horror films. Absolutely. This film, I love this film. This is like one of the films I've seen, 20 times, 30 times, and just love this film. And one of the things that I absolutely love about this film is the soundtrack. I just love the soundtrack of this film. I think it's great. Could you give us a little perspective on it?
So this is one of the few John Carpenter soundtrack movies that he did not do the soundtrack for. It was done by Ennio Morricone, who is one of Carpenter's biggest influences. So it must have been incredible when he was doing a movie and was able to get like one of his idols to score his film. The music is just so like unnerving and just, it just brooding and it just feels like something's wrong the whole time. It's just a wonderful score in general. And one of Morricone's, he's just got hundreds of great soundtracks, so to pick one is impossible, but this is definitely a very memorable one. A lot of it was not used in the final movie. So if you listen,
is that right?
If you listen to the actual thing score, you're going to hear tons of sounds that didn't actually make it into the movie. And on the original score, Carpenter actually went back and recorded some of his own music. So in the very beginning of the movie where you see the spaceship kind of come out of space and go towards the Earth, that's a little John Carpenter keyboard sound going on. So he recorded probably around like 7 or 8 minutes more music, which was released recently, finally on a CD and on a vinyl, so you can actually hear Carpenter's little added score. Great movie. I watched it recently during the pandemic. I usually give it like once a year. And the funny thing is you just notice things you never noticed no matter how many times you watch it. Just a little special effect or a little, like I never realized one of the main guys had a nose ring, because the nose ring is so thin that on VHS, even Laserdisc, you could never see it. But once I got the Blu-ray, I'm like, oh my God, this character has a nose ring I've never even noticed.
Michael Gibbons, a great guitar player from Leeway, says The Thing remake was just amazing. I'm not sure, are you referring to the prequel? I mean, there was a Thing prequel, right? Which I enjoyed quite a bit. I love how the prequel like brings you right up to where they're chasing the Norwegians are chasing the dogs. The Huskies. I really enjoy. I thought the prequel, it wasn't as good as The Thing, but it was good.
Yeah,
I enjoyed it.
Exactly as you say. It's kind of like a prequel / remake, because
I guess so.
Things happen in it, just a little different. But overall, it was not an embarrassment to the Thing name. It was actually done good enough that it's in my collection. I'm happy to have it.
And Brett says Starman. I was looking at the Carpenter films and like what were his big financial successes. I thought Starman was like a blockbuster, but it really wasn't. I mean, it's a cool film, but it wasn't like a super blockbuster money-making film. But I think is it safe to say that Starman with Jeff Bridges was sort of like his most sort of like mainstream film?
It was definitely very commercial. but you know, it's still, it feels like a Carpenter movie, the look of it.
Yeah.
And again, he didn't do the soundtrack to that one either.
Right.
So when he doesn't do the scores for his movies, there is a little bit of a difference feel to it, you know?
I see.
And I think that gave it a more commercial feel. I like all his movies. I think Christine, again, you know, was pretty commercial, but felt like a Carpenter movie. It never felt like Carpenter was portraying his core audience with even his commercial films.
And yes, Michael Gibbons says, yes, it was the prequel. Shouting out, Michael Gibbons, hope you're feeling well, buddy. Everybody's touching on They Live. I have never seen They Live. I've never seen it.
Well, I think you should see it as soon as possible, because not only is it a brilliant idea, but actually somehow it means more today. In its meaning.
Is that the film with the wrestler? Is Roddy Piper in that film?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
it's about aliens that have basically taken control, and they are kind of feeding the public information and kind of separating classes from each other. And it's like kind of interesting that all this stuff is sort of happening for real, and Carpenter predicted it, you know, back in the late 80s. He wrote that movie under a pseudonym. I highly recommend. I think you should watch it today. Because
that's interesting. And our friend in London, Volt, says, "Come on, Drew. You know, it's amazing. Like, you know, I grew up in a filmmaker household. My dad was a filmmaker. My uncle's a film director. My brother, you know, but there are a couple of things that have slipped through that I've never seen.
You can't see everything, but that's the beauty. Like, you always have the chance to catch up. But I want to just say one thing about They Live, and that is a lot of people don't know, but Dog Eat Dog made a video in 1999 for Expect the Unexpected, one of our songs from our Amped record. And when we were going to get to make the video, we all were sitting around talking, what's the concept of the video? And the Beastie Boys had just released Body Movin', and they used footage from Mario Bava's Danger Diabolic when they're climbing up with the masks on the wall. I don't know if you remember that video, Body Movin' by them. So we were talking about that. I'm like, hey, if they could do a Mario Bava video, can we do one that's a movie? And the guys actually said, all right, what's your idea? And I said, let's do something with sunglasses like They Live, where we put the sunglasses on and then we can see the reality. And everybody thought that was a pretty good idea, and we worked it into the video. So if you watch Dog Eat Dog, Expect the Unexpected, you will see the They Live influence that I suggested, and I'm very proud of that. And,
very cool. Here's a question. We're going to do questions towards the end of the show, but let's throw one in the pile here. Gene Smith says, were you all down with any of those campy trauma films? Where does the trauma catalog lie in your lexicon?
Well, Toxic Avenger 1985 is what brought me to the, attention of trauma. And that movie blew my mind. I mean, I used to carry that VHS around with me and force everybody to watch it, because I was like, Toxic Avenger is the greatest. It was filmed in New Jersey. It was just an awesome movie. And after that, I started to get into the older trauma movies. Prior to that, Waitress and The First Turn On, and some of the non-horror ones they had done. And then, of course, after that, Class of Nukem High and Surf Nazis Must Die and all those great titles. I mean, those were like mainstays of like the original VHS era, so there were a lot of trauma movies to watch, and I would just watch everything that came out. That's a great photo with Toxic.
You know what this is? This was at the MoMA. The Museum of Modern Art was screening Tromeo and Juliet. You familiar with that? Yeah. Yo, I went to I was at MoMA for the Tromeo and Juliet screening, and
Well, it's amazing that trauma is so accepted and well known now that it's in a museum, to some degree.
Yeah. Really.
And Lloyd Kaufman is just truly one of the nicest guys. I mean, my one story with him, I've met him a whole bunch of times, but there was a time where the horror convention was ending, and I forgot that I had brought my Toxic Avenger poster and I wanted Lloyd to sign it, but the convention ended. And I was walking towards the convention with the poster, hoping to catch him, and he got into his little red car and he was leaving. And he saw me in the parking lot holding the poster up to my friend, not even to him. I didn't even know he was there. And he pulled his car over, stopped, got out, and signed my poster for me.
Well, I think that's a testament to Lloyd. And you know, I've crossed paths with him a bunch of times. A real New York, gritty, ham and eggs filmmaker, man. You know, like the guy's been around. You know, I remember as a teenager when I was working for Movie Equipment Rental House, you know, driving the van and we would rent, you know, stuff to Troma like in the 80s, you know, like.
Hey, I mean, he truly loves his fans.
Yeah.
He truly loves them. He goes to every horror convention and just stands there and meets everybody. And I just admire that a lot. I mean, if you're going to put work out there and you're going to get a big fan base built, you know, you owe it to them to show them, you know, your thanks. And Lloyd just proves that he loves each and every fan.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about the soundtracks stuff that you've done. You know, I was doing my homework and I was listening to Retro Inferno on Spotify, and I know you've done 4 projects that sort of fall into the category of film soundtracks. Tell us about what Retro Inferno is and the song titles and how that works.
Well, Retro Inferno is an idea for an album that I had about 30 years ago. I was driving and I was like, I want to make a record one day that's like kind of fake soundtracks to all the movies that I love. And the first idea was, all right, the first thing will be like a tribute to Suspiria, one of my absolute favorite movies. And I want to do a soundtrack that's a fake Suspiria. So I even came up with the title Blue Iris. And I sat on this idea for a long time. And then I got hired by a comic book company called Ibon Press to do soundtracks for their comic books. And it started me on a path going into a studio, kind of doing like soundtracks to comic books, which is interesting because there's no moving picture. You just kind of envision what it would sound like and you just make the music and it goes along. When that came out, well, I said, I want to continue and I want to make this dream album I've always had, Retro Inferno, 10 movies that don't exist. And when I was writing it, I was looking on IMDb and saying, the only thing is none of the song titles can be actual movies. I want to make sure there's no actual movie called, you know, whatever I
Well, I'm looking at the song titles now. Space Driver, Blue Iris, Destroy All Robots, Zombie Moon, Electric Sky, Sam Hain, Dead Canyon, Underwater Eyes, my favorite here, Jungle Apocalypse, and Ninja Blast.
Yep. So
can you hear that? Can you hear that? No? Do you hear it?
I can hear it.
Okay, cool. I didn't know if when I play Spotify you hear it on the show. Interesting. Okay. Yeah.
Well, I went in the studio and, you know, Doggy Dog was really busy during that time. So I didn't have like all the time to be in the studio. So it was really piecemeal, 4 hours here.
Yeah.
2 hours there, whatever. And over 2 years, I finally filled in all the blanks and got this record done.
And you're playing all the instruments?
I'm doing all the keyboards, everything. There's some bass, there's some guitar. I played everything. The only thing I didn't do was the drum programming. Everything you hear that's drums, my producer, engineer, Walter Casimir, the genius. I'm making the record in Patterson, New Jersey at Silk City Grooves, and it's my little second home now. And that album was just a labor of love. It's just something I had to do, and I was able to pay tribute to all my favorite directors and the favorite genres of movies. So there's a zombie movie, a cannibal movie, a Terminator style sci-fi movie. So whatever kind of movie you like, you're going to get a little bit of that on this record. So
what is Bottom Feeder?
So Bottom Feeder is another one of the comic books that I did a soundtrack to. So when you open the comic and you put my CD in, you can kind of read along with it. And it's like those old book and records from Power Book and Records back in the day. That was a big influence on me. And I was really excited to kind of do something like that again.
Very, very cool. You know who we did not touch on is the guy that directed this film. Now, this is a little bit of a curveball for people out there. You might not recognize this film, but this happens to be, I don't want to say, definitely one of my favorite films that this directed. I love this film. I've watched it a couple. I think it's my dad's favorite film that this guy did, and that would be Stanley Kubrick. And by the way, Stanley Kubrick grew up in the Bronx and went to Taft High School with my dad, Arnie Stone. So there's a connection there. My dad remembers Stanley Kubrick, from Taft High School in the Bronx. But Stanley Kubrick, and any personal favorites?
I mean, The Shining is in my top 3 films of all time. So yes, The Shining, 2001: A Space Odyssey, outside of horror, is probably one of my absolute all-time favorites. So like it's just one after the other great movies. Barry Lyndon is a challenging film.
I love it.
It's a slow moving. It's not his most accessible film, but the detail in it, it's all lit by candles. It's like unbelievable. The meticulous nature of this film as a film student or a film lover. There, you have to admire it, even though if it's not necessarily his best film. It's still one you must see if you're a Kubrick fan.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you said, if you're a lover of film, or it is his attention to detail and how the thing is lit and shot. It's an incredible film. I love this film very much. I enjoy it quite a bit. But I'm a big Kubrick fan. I mean, even Eyes Wide Shut is something that I've watched many times and have enjoyed it. And listen, Full Metal Jacket is one of those films in my world. It's like, Godfather 1 and 2, Goodfellas, Casino, Eyes Wide Shut, like every time it's on when I'm flicking through the channels, where I just got to watch it,
In many years ago, I was in Belgium, in Ghent, and they had the Stanley Kubrick retrospective there. Basically,
is that right?
His original cameras, all his original scripts and notes. It was like the world of Stanley Kubrick. I actually saw original props from movies and everything you could imagine. It was an unbelievable experience to see the Stanley Kubrick exhibition. I don't know where it is in the world right now, but hopefully one day it would come to New York and people could get to see this. The actual spaceships from 2001, whatever it was, the actual acts from The Shining, props and the dresses the little girls wore, all that stuff. It was just amazing.
Gabe Franco asks if I've seen Paths of Glory. That one and Dr. Strangelove are in my top 10. I actually have never seen Paths of Glory. And my father always ridicules me for it. And of course, I have seen Dr. Strangelove. That's a little bit of a difficult watch, Dr. Strangelove. It's a little out there for me. I do need to see Paths of Glory. It's always on my gotta get it done list. I know you're a lover of Hitchcock as well. And Hitchcock has such an incredible palette of stuff that he's done. Any sleepers you could call to our attention?
I mean, all his classics are great. I just actually watched Suspicion yesterday with Cary Grant, which I haven't watched in a while. And I just love all his movies, but of course I gravitate towards the more horror element ones. Psycho's the classic, The Birds,
sure,
and I love Strangers on a Train. Man, I mean, I love North by Northwest. I mean, these are movies in like regular rotation for me. So I don't know if I could list a sleeper. I'll just say, like Psycho will always be my favorite.
Sure.
Because it's the first Hitchcock that I saw.
What a masterpiece. As I was doing my homework and looking through the Hitchcock catalog, he did these films back to back to back. Vertigo, North by Northwest, Psycho, The Birds.
Yeah, it's just unthinkable.
Like boom, boom, boom. Like what?
Yeah. Well, I mean, what I love about Hitchcock and what fascinates me about him is that he literally makes the whole movie in his head before he shoots it. And there's no room for error, and there's no room for, well, let's try this, let's do that.
Yeah.
Literally knew what he was going to do,
Yeah.
shot it exactly as it was planned with no extra footage, no, let's just cover this or cover that, we might cut away. No, he already knew there will be no cutaway. We know what we're doing. And that to me is so fascinating because I don't work that way. I work in a very loose way, like, hey, let's do it that way, but let's try this because we never know what we might want. And in terms of art in general, and I find it fascinating when somebody is so like Kubrick or Hitchcock, where they absolutely know what they want, and there's just no deviation from that, and they're going to do it until they get it the way they want it. And there's something to be said about that, which is fascinating.
I guess these are old school Hollywood directors in a certain regard, but you just called to my attention, the Hitchcock mentality and the Kubrick mentality, and in a certain way they were very similar. That incredible, it's all worked out in their head. It's like there's,
Yeah. And, that's a different style of filmmaking. You call it old Hollywood, whatever it is.
Yeah.
These guys were just visionary geniuses, and they know what they want. They want it their way. And I respect that. And Hitchcock's films will always live on forever because they're just so well made.
Absolutely. And they're and they're beautiful, a lot of them. I mean, I'm a big fan of black and white films. I have a film script called Finders Keepers that, if it ever gets done, not only will you be doing the soundtrack, but it will be black and white. Masked Sanity says The Trouble with Harry is a great Hitchcock movie.
Yeah, one of the darkest comedies he did.
Really? I'm not familiar with that film.
It's all about death, but it's funny, and it's just a brilliant black comedy where they're just trying to basically hide a dead body.
Wasn't Hitchcock's last film Family Plot? I think that was Hitchcock's last film. Yeah.
Yeah, which actually is pretty good. I mean, it has a modern feel, which is weird because you think of Hitchcock and you have that old school feel, but for his last movie, it was in the 70s. He actually had a modern feel to it. Not his best movie, but actually one that I do watch often. I like it.
That's cool. Hey, let me take my last sponsor break here and shout out a couple sponsors, and let's come back and let's take some questions from around the world. Okay.
Cool. I'm going to flip my posters.
Yeah, go ahead. You got like 10 minutes. Who's having fun out there, huh? I hope you are, because I am. I enjoy talking about films and stuff, breaking it up every now and then. This is the New York Hardcore Chronicles live, and we are sponsored by New York Hardcore Comics, The Organic Grill, the Texas Silver Rush, Chain Reaction Records and Skateboards, DTFM Vinyl Distro, Chacho's Tacos, 126 Hardcore Clothing, and since 1992, Generation Records has been a mainstay of the New York metropolitan area music scene. Today, they offer a diverse selection of new and used rock, jazz, indie, hip-hop, punk, hardcore, metal, blues soundtrack, as well as reggae LPs, posters, and other merchandise. They buy used record collections and music memorabilia and will pay you top dollar for them. House calls made for large collections in the tri-state area. Call or email generationrecords@gmail.com and follow them on Facebook and on Instagram. Come on now, New York Hardcore Comics opened in 2013, selling comic books, punk rock and hardcore memorabilia, toys, statues, skateboard decks, tapes, vinyl, and all things horror. We love helping bands push their demos and new tracks, so please stop by and drop off your new music, even if you friggin' suck. We have in-store events like Magic the Gathering and Warhammer tournaments, plus meet and greets with bands and some live performances. Open 7 days a week and shipping worldwide. Find us online through Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and eBay. Located at 117 Main Street in lovely Dobbs Ferry, New York. www.newyorkhardcorecomics.com. Last but not least, on this Shout-Out Sunday, What's Up, Vlad? Organic Grill is a vegan restaurant located in East Village, New York City at 1st Avenue. Featured in New York Magazine, New York Times, and everyone's favorite, Veg News. Their dishes have won numerous awards, including Best Goddamn Veggie Burger. They make their own cheeses, sausages, and burger patties, and every dish on the menu could be made gluten-free. This year, they're celebrating their 21st anniversary, and they're all about having a great time while enjoying amazing, clean food. They have now fully reopened and look forward to seeing you. Get in touch with them. Order some great food at www.theorganicgrill.com. Want to mention a couple of Bowery Electric shows that we just announced. Sunday, May 22nd. Listen, people want to play these shows. What do you want me to tell you? What do you want me to tell you? People want to play these shows. Case in point. Ludacris, Butterbrain, Fuck It, I Quit, Extinguish the Code, and Deja. That's right. Ludacris is playing free Bowery Electric Show, Sunday, May 22nd. If it's free, it's for me. All ages. Sunday matinees are back on the Bowery. And then our June show, which is going to be Incendiary Devices Maiden Voyage. Come on down at the Bowery Electric. Sworn Enemy, Inhuman, first show in 4 years. Incendiary Device. It's going to jump off tonight. Blackout Shoppers and Spike Polite and Sewage. Come on now. Get your shoes and socks on, kids. It is right around the corner. Once again, want to remind you to please support the show on Patreon or make a donation at PayPal. Or if you got a hard on right now, we're doing a super chat. If you got a question for Dave, take your yarmulke off, spend a couple bucks, do a super chat, and it comes up in color, and I can't miss it, and the question will come right to the front. This is great. Okay, good. Are you a Patreon? All you people who watch the show all the time, I hope you're a Patreon. You know, I hope you're a patron on Patreon. Yes, that Sworn Enemy show is going to be sick. Sick as in healthy, or sick as in sick? That said, there is a merch line underneath there. I'm having a hard time changing it to different items, but if you look into it, there's a bunch of stuff. Let's take questions from around the world. Let's bring our guest.
Because if you shake it, it's like
Dave.
a person.
Hey, is that Kim? Hey, Kim. Hey, Kim. I hear you.
We're gonna get our head there.
Hi, Kim. How are you? Is she critiquing your performance?
Always keeping me in line.
Yeah, you should do this and you should do that.
I
Hi,
just think-
Kim, and thank you, Kim, for helping.
Oh yeah.
You know,
Always.
questions. Post some questions, party people. Here you go. Rich Zola says, Dave, do you recall a dog eat dog show at Hudson Valley Skate Park in Newburgh with Murphy's Law in 91 and 92? That was a great day. Good times.
Yeah, I love the old Newburgh skate park shows. Those were very cool. That was just a great place, good community around that time. I remember that gig very well.
You know, speaking of dog eat dog, here's a great shot of you, me, and the late, great Sean Kilkenny. Hold on. There you go. Do you know where we are in this picture?
I kind of feel like we're in Italy.
We're in the Alps.
Oh, in the Alps. Okay. Yeah.
We're in the Alps, and this was on the Biohazard Dog Eat Dog Downset tour. And remember, we were throwing rocks off that roof. Yeah. We were chucking rocks off that roof, like into the town below. Probably killed somebody.
Yeah. Who cares? We don't know. We're kids on tour. Nothing bad can happen.
Yeah. And there he is, Sean Kilkenny. May he rest in peace. And those shorts that he was wearing, I remember we used to bust on him. He wore those shorts the whole tour. And we used to say that pretty soon those shorts are gonna get on stage and play by themselves.
Yeah. Oh, love you, Sean.
Yeah.
Good times, man. A lot of people may not know. I mean, we basically lived together for 6 weeks on that tour. So, you've got Biohazard, Downset, and Dog Eat Dog plus crew. Also, Paris Mayhew was playing guitar for us on that tour, which me and him had been working together. So it was really just like a good family feeling 6 weeks, and one of the most important eras of my life. I mean, that tour was it.
That tour really shaped me. It really did. I learned. It was an incredible moment, an exciting and vibrant and exciting moment to be a part of it, because Biohazard was blowing the fuck up.
Huge.
I mean, every show on that tour was absolutely out of control, and you guys were great. And Downset was awesome, and it was a long tour, and you played a lot. That's really I learned so much on that tour, man. You know, here, you know what? Here's another shot. This is when you were kind enough to invite me over for. It was during Christmas at your place. It's you, Sean, Dave, and excuse me, John, and myself. This a couple years ago at your place.
Yeah.
You know.
Wow. Yeah. That had to be 2005. 2000. God. Yeah. That must have been like. That's more than 10 years ago.
Yeah, I think it's about 10 years ago. Yeah.
Well, good times, man. You see, once you go on tour and you do a biohazard tour, you're family for life with people. So that
there you go.
That's part of the bond.
I know you're a big craft beer aficionado. Rachel asks, any new beers to recommend, Dave?
Rachel, hi, good to see you. I mean, we're beer drinking buddies. The problem now is that everybody makes great beer. It used to be like we got to search for this awesome beer, and when you found it, it was like a big deal. But now all of a sudden, buy great beer at a gas station. So I've lost a little bit of that that kind of hunting mentality, running around looking for cool beer. Now I'm just like whatever looks good on the can. So I'm always trying to find movie related beers. So if I can find a beer with related to a horror movie, then I'll buy it and I get excited about it. But Rachel, I'm gonna have to get back to you because I've been kind of pretty much drinking Polish beer exclusively these days, just keeping it simple, and then a good IPA here and there.
Stuart says, if I'm reading this probably, of the so-called banned films of the 80s like Cannibal Holocaust, Reanimator, etc., is there a favorite or any you really enjoy? P.S. I recently found Cujo and really still love that film.
I mean, Reanimator is absolutely one of my all-time favorites. Cannibal Holocaust, anything from the 80s. I mean, that's the cornerstone building blocks of my whole collection. So I love all of them. To sit here and name them, I don't know. I can just show you my collection and you'll be like, all right, you literally have every horror movie from the 80s. I love them all. That's what I live for.
Right on.
Cujo, great.
Our good friend and supporter Larry Kelly up in Massachusetts. Dave, what do you think about HK horror? I'm not sure what that is.
Hong Kong.
Oh, and my favorite movie, The Eight Immortals Restaurant with Anthony Chow Sang Wong.
Okay, well, I have a very large collection of Asian horror and kung fu films. So that's a whole nother thing that I love. To name each one right now, I mean, we're going to run out of time. I wouldn't be able to do it. But I can tell you, Larry, I love it. I've got a really nice collection of Hong Kong, all the Shaw Brothers stuff. I mean, a giant collection. Eight Immortals Restaurant. That one I don't know. I know 8 Diagram Pole. But
sounds crazy.
I'm going to look it up when we're done here and check it out because I'm always looking for something new that I haven't seen.
Yeah. Cool.
Anthony.
Yeah.
Eight Immortals. Immortals. Is he talking about he's talking about what's the name? Thank God I have my phone here. Keep going.
Yeah. Hey, who's this? Hey man, what's up? What's up, bro?
Me?
Yeah. How you doing?
Hey, what's up, Drew?
How are you, buddy?
I'm all right, man. Thanks
Where
for
are you?
putting me on. I just
Where are you?
just got home from Vermont. I got snowed in for like 2 days. Back in Massachusetts now.
Hey, Dave, this is Steiner. He's one of my patrons.
Steiner.
What's up, Dave?
How are you? Good to see you.
Hey, Steiner, what's your favorite horror film?
Favorite horror film? Maybe Trilogy of Terror.
Oh, wow.
Maybe
that's deep.
Or you guys ever see that movie that is a Japanese movie called House?
Totally.
I don't know.
House.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not so much a horror, but it's just trippy and weird and yeah, kind of scary.
Cool.
It's a must.
I get enough horror in my life these days to.
Hey, thanks, Steiner. Thanks for popping on.
Yeah. Well, speaking of that, I'm gonna be starting I'm gonna be going to Poland May 1st to go join the the European Legion to go work in Ukraine and fight.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Got my flight May 1st, and I just wanted to pass the word on if anybody's interested in doing anything like that, volunteering, all that stuff. You can get in touch with me, and
That's heavy, man.
We need to do shit about it, except
you're flying in Poland, and there's a legion of volunteers.
Yeah, flying into Krakow.
Wow.
And then driving west.
Holy shit.
And getting some arms going.
Wow.
Yeah. Anyway, to anybody who was at the show last night for COC, and my buddy Lou DeBella was there last night, and it seemed like an excellent show. Who was it? COC and Ministry.
Yeah, Ministry, COC. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Anyway, I don't want to keep you guys too long.
We'll talk to you in a bit. Thanks, man. And yo, be careful over there, man.
Yes.
I'll keep you updated if I can. But yeah, I just decided you got to do something about this shit, you know?
Wow, that's heavy, man, that you're going over there like that, man.
What else do I have to lose, right?
Hey, you are hardcore, man. I'll talk to you later.
All right, Drew. Hey, nice meeting you, Dave.
Good meeting you. Good luck. Thank you.
See what happens when you join my Patreon page? You can randomly come on the show out of nowhere. Dude, I put the link on the Patreon page saying, hey, anybody want to pop on before the show and say hi? Sure enough, during the show, I'm like, who's this? that was cool, man. Good luck, Steiner, man. That's heavy. Yeah, the Melvins were on the show last night, right? Let's see. Back to the task at hand.
And Larry, just saying, the Untold Story and Ebola Syndrome. Yes, I know exactly the movies. I have them on Blu-ray in my collection. Yes, I got it thrown off by the title. That's all.
The real Herman the German says that 1994 was the best package I've ever seen. That's when I met you two and all the others. Rest in peace, Sean. Missing you dearly.
Yeah,
absolutely. Here's a question from our resident historian, Chucky Brown, the singer for Crazy Eddie. Drew, can you ask, whose idea was it to use the skit from the Woody Allen 1973 film Sleeper for the outro to the song Dog Eat Dog?
I've always been the sample guy because I always had access to all the movies. So I was watching Sleeper and I heard that, God spelled backward is dog sample. And I'm like, oh, we got to use that. And then on the album from Amped, it starts off with a Trauma sample from Waitress, and Lloyd Kaufman gave us his okay and we could use it. So every once in a while I'd pull a sample and be like, what do you guys think? There's one that says The American Way somewhere on Funnel King, and that was pulled from something. And yeah, so good ears, and the fact that anybody even caught
I didn't even catch that.
Yeah, very few people have ever asked about it.
That thing is still, you know what? Gabe Fred, some people post shit on Twitter. Steiner's actually fucking doing it. That's wild, man. And then, is that right? Someone just posted, there are volunteers from the US, UK, Germany, and other countries already in Ukraine. The other day it was 16,000 plus. Oh boy, here comes World War III, man.
Fortunately.
Oh man. If you could pick any horror movie to have a cameo in, which one would it be? And yes, you have to travel back in time for it.
Oh man, I would want to be a zombie in the original Dawn of the Dead. That would be definitely. I would love to be one of those guys like, that's me with that blue face and whatever. That'd be my ultimate.
What's the zombie film? I always get these confused because there's been like the one with Ving Rhames in the mall.
Yeah, that's the Dawn of the Dead remake.
Dude, I love that film. Yeah. That was directed by the guy who ended up Zack Snyder. So that's a really good film. I really like that film.
And it's not the original, but it's as good as a remake of something like that could be. They did a good job with it, obviously.
Yeah.
So
when can we expect Retro Inferno on vinyl?
All right. Perfect question. So here's what's up with Retro Inferno.
Wait, is that Kim asking that question?
No, it's not. It's surprisingly not. Wants me to get the prop in, though, you know. And
yeah. When can we expect Retro Inferno?
So Retro Inferno right now is on a limited CD. For people like me who like to listen to CDs in their car and everything, I made 300 of them. They're being distributed by Eibon Press, EIBON Press. That's the company who makes the comic books. They're distributing the CD. The record on vinyl takes like a year to make these days. So it's in production right now. It's put out by Cadabra Records.
Nice. Of course it is.
Abracadabra. They do incredible, like Lovecraft spoken word records. They do a lot of amazing, beautiful vinyl. And I was so excited when they contacted me and said, we'd love to put out Retro Inferno. So you can expect Retro Inferno to be in stores and online in October 22 coming up.
That's cool.
We've already put the vinyl artwork in. It's going to be splattered vinyl. It's going to be beautiful gatefold sleeve, tip on 180 gram, everything. It's going to be beautiful. Nice. Coming out. So keep an eye on Cadabra Records.
Fantastic. Any of the more recent Halloween films that do the franchise justice, in your opinion?
The first movie that I went back to the theater after the pandemic that got me out was Halloween Kills. I'm like, I'll risk getting COVID to go see Halloween Kills. And it wasn't worth the risk. Unfortunately, I love Halloween. I will see every movie, no matter what it is, good or bad. But I have to be honest and say, hey, you know, it's fine. It's never going to be what the first 3, even the first 5 and 6 Halloween movies I'll even give. You know, I love them all, but the new ones, they don't excite me. And Halloween Kills just kind of was so over the top. I wasn't raving about it. But, you know, when Halloween Ends comes out, I'll still be there first day.
Are you a fan of the Chucky films?
Love them all. I have every one of them.
You know, my friend Christina Elise McCarthy, who's been on the show, you know, she was in Chucky 2, and you know, she's involved in the Chucky franchise.
You know, yeah. I like all the franchise, all the Texas Chainsaw, Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th, all the big ones. I'm a fan of them. They're just great movies, and they're just a lot of fun. And no matter how bad they are, if you've got the right people, you've got a couple of beers, you know, you're going to have fun. And that's all I'm asking.
Did you see Train to Busan?
Yes. Loved it.
I did too.
I'm into all kinds of zombie. I've not seen Peninsula, which is the sequel.
You know what? I veered away from it. It looked really sort of it looked too video gamey to me. It like I watched the other thing. What's it called? We're All Gonna Die. You see that?
No, I haven't seen that.
It's the Korean. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, no, but I haven't watched it yet. Actually.
I watched the whole thing, soup to nuts. I watched every episode. You know, once you get going, it's cool. I enjoyed it. It's interesting to see how different sort of cultures, you know, get going on the zombie thing. It's like it's Korean zombie stuff, you know?
I mean, I love it. Train to Busan had like a great energy to it. It was like real fast moving, and you know, everybody's got their take on zombies. I watch them all. I love them, and eventually I'll get to the sequel, even if it's video gamey. I did not watch Army of the Dead. Somebody
recommended The Descent to me, and I watched the first one was very good.
Yeah, great.
Yeah,
that's
first
movie that still, when I watch it, I feel claustrophobic. Like,
yes.
I know this isn't even a real. This is just a set. You know, you feel like trapped in this little cave in this little hole, and that works for the movie. And just
very claustrophobic film. Very, very done right. Dave, did you get around to watching The Wailing? I'm not familiar with this. People say The Exorcist and The Shining are the scariest movies ever. I'd say The Wailing is right up there with the classics.
Yeah, I have not watched it yet, but it is on my pile. I have the DVD, and it's the only thing keeping me from putting it in is the 2.5 hour running time. So I'm, you know, waiting till I really have that energy. I'm into like 90 minutes or less movies, if possible, like late at night. I don't want to stay up too late watching these epics, but I've got I've got my to watch pile, which is about 100 or more, and all of them are over 2 hours. I'm just like, I just got to get through these.
Does Kim watch all this stuff with you?
She used to watch all of them, but I think these days her acceptance of violence on screen has become less and less. She's more interested in, human comedy or drama. So, it's good because I get away from all the horror and watch other things too. And,
I can relate. I can relate to that. I can.
She doesn't want to see violence all the time. And for me, I don't take it to heart. Violence to me is like comedy. It's the same thing. I don't look at it as something horrible, but I have to say the extreme movies like Serbian Film, some of the other ones that are out, Human Centipede, like I'm finding myself like harder and harder to rewatch because I've seen these movies and I know what's there, but I'm almost afraid to like go back and watch it again as I get older. So I can kind of understand that I'm weakening a little with my ultra, horror and gore phase.
Yeah, interesting. Stuart, now we're cooking in the chat room, so thanks everybody. We're really cooking. Good stuff, everybody. Dog Soldiers is great with black humor. I that was recommended by the same person that was on the show, who recommended The Descent and The Witch. He recommended The Witch, which was goddamn good, man. That was a very well done film. It's the same guy that just directed The Lighthouse, which was like fucking out there. Yeah. But The Witch was a really good film, man. But Dog Soldiers was recommended. I can't find it it's not on. I can't get it anywhere. It's not on. You can't rent it. It's not on Amazon. It's not on Netflix. I want to see Dog Soldiers. I can't get it. Goran says about Asian movies. Dave, have you seen Shutter from 2004? A Thailand movie. Think they did a remake for Hollywood also. The ending in the Thailand one is amazing. I'm not familiar with this.
Okay, well, it's in the mid 2000s, there were a lot of hot Asian horror films that were being remade. So you talk about The Ring, The Grudge. Well, Shutter was another one of them. The original Shutter was fantastic, and then they put a Hollywood cast, and they did a decent remake of it. But there are a lot of Asian horror movies that were remade at that time. And if you go back and you watch the originals, you'll see some super high quality movies from that era.
Well, I think that's par for the course, right? Thailand or France or make a film and then Hollywood says, let's regurgitate it. Whether it's The Professional or one of my favorite films, I don't know if you're familiar with this, is a film that what's his name that directed The Exorcist? I'm sorry. Who directed The Exorcist?
William Friedkin.
The film that William Friedkin directed after The Exorcist was a film called Sorcerer.
Sorcerer, which is a remake of Wages of Fear, about these guys who have to drive a truck with nitroglycerin in the most like brutal landscape, and the truck is like literally like going like this, and every minute you're like, it's going to explode, and it's a super tense film with an amazing score by Tangerine Dream.
That's right.
And just a hypnotic film, just an incredible movie.
One of my favorites.
Oh yeah, beautiful. Just a great movie.
That's one of my favorites. Also a film, and I know I'm going off here. Another film called Fitzcarraldo is one of my a Werner Herzog film, is one of my all-time. People ask me what are my all-time favorite films, and Fitzcarraldo is up there. That film absolutely inspired me as an artist.
It's so huge in scale. They literally had a real boat that they hauled over a mountain to make the movie.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Only insane people would do that and say, this is important. Let's do this. And Fitzcarraldo, again, I'm a big Herzog fan.
Yeah,
even
me too.
Non-horror stuff, I've got it all in my collection. I've got the soundtracks by Popol Vuh, and I love all of that stuff. Any just truly visionary filmmaker, that's what I love.
He's a huge inspiration of mine, and influence, Werner Herzog. Next to my dad, who's a filmmaker, Werner Herzog is just, it inspires me to just, get up off your ass and do it, make it happen, no excuses. Not only that,
but avoid anything commercial in any way.
That's right.
I'm not even going to try to make a movie that's
right. Make great art.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it's about.
I believe it. That's why I support all of these filmmakers, old and new, guys with vision, guys who go against the grain, guys who do. It's punk rock, filmmaking in a way.
Yeah, for sure.
Do it your way.
That's interesting. What did you think of Killer Clowns from Outer Space and the Electric Guitar Circus music soundtrack?
The Dickies did the songs for the movie. Remember the band, the Dickies?
Yeah, of course.
We were there that day in Yper. They played on the same stage as you.
Yeah, I watched.
Yeah, and the score for the movie, obviously, it's not by the Dickies, but I mean, Killer Clowns is another one of those movies that in 1988, when it was released, was unlike anything you've ever seen. And I would literally carry the VHS tape with me everywhere I went. I mean, there's a few movies where I had to show everyone, you have to see this. And there's people will tell you, yeah, Dave made me watch that. I was blown away by that movie.
Anthony Green asks, did The Omen come up? No, interestingly enough, it has not. Some of the scariest scenes ever. The scene being trapped under the ice is one of the scariest scenes in any horror movie. Excuse me?
The Trapped Under Ice is part 2.
I recently watched the original Omen film with Lee Remick, and it's pretty intense. The original, and I always thought like when I was a kid, there was The Exorcist. And like The Omen came kind of on the heels of that, and also I remember the boys from Brazil was another one.
That movie's come up like 3 times in the last week.
Is that right?
Because I don't know why, but it keeps coming up. I've been telling people you got to see this movie. Yeah. I think it's somehow for some reason having a little resurgence. I remember when that movie came out. Yeah, I was terrified of it. It's not even a horror movie, but I was terrified of those dogs. And the idea that Hitler was being reincarnated, and it like, I don't know, something about that story, like it was scarier than a horror movie for me.
Yeah, that was wasn't that Gregory Peck basically in the role of Joseph, Nazi Joseph Mengele?
Yeah.
And hey, listen, while we're kicking the ball around, which brings you to the other one that was sort of like the other Mengele was Laurence Olivier. Playing Zell in Marathon Man.
Yeah, you got it. Is it safe?
Is it safe?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely horrifying. And that movie I first saw in this movie called Terror in the Isles, which was a compilation movie that was.
Is that right? What, Marathon Man was in there?
Yeah, for some reason they put.
That's odd that a big studio film like that.
Right,
yeah.
and they put other stuff like Clute and other movies that were not really horror in this compilation movie called Terror in the Isles. And I saw it in the theater when it came out in 1984. And I remember seeing those clips from Marathon Man, and I was like, I don't know what this is. And of course, I finally went and rented it, and absolute classic scenes.
A really disturbing, intense film. Has Michael Vale has? Let me see if I have the Michael Vale is in the opening scene. Hold on. Michael Vale. Where do I have my? Oh, here we go. Here's a picture of me and Michael Vale, right? Michael Vale was a guy that my dad directed a lot in commercials. And here's a picture of a young me with Michael Vale on the set. Now, Michael Vale was he was Sam Breakstone, and he was the Dunkin' Donuts guy. Time to make the donuts. And he had a very proficient career doing commercials. And he was in that opening scene in Marathon Man when he goes into the Diamond District. He plays the diamond buyer. Michael Vale is a beloved figure in commercials. He was time to make the donuts, and he was Sam Breakstone with the dog, chewing on his leg. So wow. There's a shot of me and Michael Vale from that's got to be in the 80s.
I mean, you look like the kid from Salem's Lot, or
right. I'm probably 14, 15.
Or you look like Martin the Vampire or something. I mean, you definitely great shot, man.
Yeah, there you go. Not Vicky Vale. Yeah, there you go. Chippy Love. Salem's Lot.
Hey, man, love you. You got it.
Yeah. Stephen King they've made like so much of his stuff into films. Salem's Lot, right? Christine. I mean, there's like 20.
Every movie.
Yeah, it's incredible.
The Corn, name it.
Yeah,
I got them all. I love all the Stephen King movies.
Yep.
Some of the later TV ones I didn't get to yet, but
I didn't see the It remake. Did you see that?
The first half. Hi, Sylvie.
Yeah. Sylvie says, "Hey, I enjoy this live chat. Hi from Rotterdam, Dave. I'll see you next month in Belgium." And we all know that Dog Eat Dog rules in
Belgium.
Belgium, what's up? Absolutely.
Sylvia is one of the best. We love her.
Oh yeah.
Oh
Good. Yes, It, Pet Cemetery, Stand By Me. Yes, great film.
Yeah.
Who directed Stand By Me?
Rob Reiner, I thought.
Rob Reiner. No, you're right. Rob Reiner. You're right. It's Rob Reiner.
And he did Misery.
What's that?
And then he did Misery.
Right. Goddamn great film. That was a great film, Stand By Me. I love films like that with young people. Another like when it's very young people. Like another film, and I've said this many times, one of my all-time favorite films is the film Almost Famous. Which I love the casting that they really did it right. It's not like Madonna is casted, they're all very young people playing young people. And I like that in a film. Oh yeah. The Mist. Forgot about that one. Wasn't that Adrienne Barbeau? Was she in the, no.
That's The Fog.
The Fog.
Better than The Mist, but The Mist is a good movie. Really. It has a devastating ending that's just like, a shocker. So, the ending of The Mist makes it worth watching for sure.
Yeah. Is Dog Eat Dog going to the UK?
We don't have any dates booked yet, but I wouldn't be surprised in the fall if you saw Dog Eat Dog definitely back in London. I mean, we're preparing a fall tour. We're working on our new album right now, and we're getting to it. We have the record written. We just have to record a few more songs. And, we're going to try to wrap it up this summer if we can, and maybe release a single in the fall or something. I think you're going to see us in the UK.
Cool. Hey, thanks, man. That was a lot of fun.
So much fun.
It was great.
I truly appreciate you having me on, talking about my favorite things. And
I enjoyed it, man.
Yeah. It's always good to chat film with a pro. And, a lot of times you work up all this knowledge of film and like, you don't have any way to like kind of like share it. Cause it's only a select few people that are so obsessed with it. So I appreciate, you taking the time to chat with me. Thank you. It means a lot.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. And, film and music is my life and it's my passion and it's what I love. So to be able to share, do this show, I'm really fortunate. I really am. And I think about it all the time. Anybody you want to shout out?
I just want to say thanks to everybody who's here right now listening, anybody that will be listening, all the people who wrote in. Trust me, I'm reading everything you write here. So, it's much appreciated. And that's it. Just go to my Instagram page, Dog Eat Dave, if you want to keep up with, what I'm doing, new music, or just see some of my horror collection. And, I'll see everybody at the Dog Eat Dog shows coming up, and I'll see.
Hey, you guys, did they announce? Are you doing those remake shows soon?
We're going to do some more shows to make up for the Life of Agony shows. We haven't announced those dates yet, but very soon Life of Agony will announce the makeup shows, and we're going to be doing a few of them. So we'll see some people out there, and just thanks for supporting me. Listen to Retro Inferno on Spotify and see if you like this stuff. And I will hopefully see you again sometime. Maybe we'll have a Dog Eat Dog show in the future sometime.
Hey, we'll see you up in Brockton, bro.
Okay, Brockton.
I'll see you up in Brockton. That's in 2 weeks, I think, right?
It's on Saturday, March 26th in Brockton. Yeah. Dog Eat Dog, Things Never Die, and other really good bands, Women of the Pit. It's going to be great, just, looking forward to seeing you there. Good.
All right. Take care, Dave. Thank you.
Everybody, love you all. Thank you, Drew. And I'll see you on Sunday at 24/7 Spies.
Oh, there you go. All right. Bye-bye. Well, there you have it. Great show. Damn, that was a great show. Whew. Come on now. Fuckers. Goddamn great show. Goddamn electric. Whew. All right? Can you hear me now? Yes, it was a great show. Man, that was good. Like doing good shows. You know, good show, you know, for me on this end, it really helps when the guest is like in front of a computer and not doing it on the phone, and like, so we don't have to stress about the technical aspect of things. Yes, Rampage Mosh Crew stomping next week, ladies and gentlemen, because 1 week from today is this at the Bowery Electric, 24/7 Spies, Ache, Neighborhood Shiznit, Serial Poets, and Iconicide. There you go. Boom. That's coming up a week from today. There is no show 1 week from today. That is happening. So get your tushies, get your touches, get all your tushies down to the Bowery Electric. But before then, this Wednesday, he's coming back on, and he's bringing Sean from White Zombie with him. We have our film, The Fabulous Journey of Michael Lago. Who the fuck is that guy? Being released on multiple platforms. I think it's March 25th it's been pushed to. So this is coming up on Wednesday, March 16th. Should be pretty cool. Thank you, B. Yes, Kev. Yes, Kev. It's Ryan Bland's birthday. Rat Bones, I'm trying to figure it out. I don't know what's going on. I got to call into Jesse. Sean Yasalt? Isn't that how you pronounce it? Yasalt. I think. Yasalt, right? So there you go. That said, thanks a lot, everybody. We're all good. We'll see you on Wednesday. Thanks for the support. Great show today. Nighty night from Sweden. Until next we meet. Do good things and good things will come to you.